Donna Carroll from Volusia Sheriff's Office, Senior Chaplain.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all. You are an amazing group. Somehow you always make me feel like family. And y'all are precious. Father God, I just ask that your presence would be here in this meeting, that your peace would be here. And Father, that you give everybody up here wisdom straight from your throne. Because, Father, no matter what our cause is, we want the right thing to be done. Wisdom, God. And Father, just bless each one of them. And bless each one of these wonderful folk who come. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, number one, absences. 1A, shall the absence of Councilmember Dana Knight from the October 28th, 2025 regular city council meeting be excused?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse the absence of Councilmember Dana Knight from the October 28, 2025 regular council meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Kaylee, will you call the vote?
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Councilmember Tiongson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes, and the motion passes to accept the absence of Councilmember Dana Knight for the October 28, 25 regular city council meeting. Moving on to number two, presentations and proclamations. 2A, Good Citizenship Award presentation. The Good Citizenship Award program was implemented in 2021 as a way to recognize people who go above and beyond for our community. The City Council recognizes that the strength of Orange City is built on the efforts of residents, organizations, and volunteers who dedicate their time and talents to improving the quality of life for others. We are honored to present the 2025 third quarter Good Citizenship Award this evening to 3 outstanding individuals who have made lasting contributions to our community. Our first nominee is Miss Narita H. Williamson. She has spent more than 5 years helping neighbors navigate county bylaws, elections, and community concerns. She personally conducts neighborhood cleanups, reports illegal dumping, and works closely with law enforcement to keep her community safe. Ms. Williamson also donates her own funds to support community events and provides guidance to residents seeking affordable housing and financial literacy resources. Ms. Williamson, please join us at the front for your certificate and a photo with the City Council. Okay, our second nominee is Miss Leah Brooks, led to the creation and care of the wildflower garden at Alberta's Cottage, transforming the area into a vibrant, natural space for residents and pollinators alike. Through her leadership, she has inspired others to participate in sustainability projects, strengthening civic pride. Ms. Brooks, please join us for your certificate and a photo with the City Council.
Award belongs to the whole VIA because everybody, including Mayor Marks, was the president during the Wildflower Garden. And who else is on that? Fran and Lisa and Dana. Yep, and yes, Esmeralda. And Lisa also maybe. I just really want to emphasize this is not. This is not a work suit, right? It's not a work suit. This whole group of people, so. But she headed it. Well, maybe. I'm up here, Mom. I'm up here.
One more, everybody. One more. One more. Vice Mayor's getting impatient here. Okay. Our third nominee, Ms. Sharon Stafford, is the founder of Everybody is Somebody, Inc., an organization dedicated to empowering local youth. Through her programs, she helps young people build confidence, develop academic and social skills, and discover their potential to positively impact the community. Her compassion and leadership continues to make a difference in the lives of many. Ms. Stafford, please join us for your certificate and a photo with the City Council.
I just want to say also, God be the glory. Amen. Everybody know when you're working with youth, when you're working with kids, it can be challenging, but to God be the glory.
Yes. I'm sorry. You know, what's great about him taking the pictures is he's up there, and they always say when you take pictures up high, they look better, so thank you. All right. Okay, we're moving on to citizens' comments. We have a bunch tonight. Okay, let's start with Leah Brooks.
Good afternoon. My name is Leah Brooks, 313 West French Ave. I normally prepare something, but tonight I'm really going to speak from the heart. One of the things that I've seen over the last few months is a disintegration between relationships between the city and community organizations, women's groups, other philanthropic organizations that have poured a lot into this city. You know, we have women's groups that are 60 years old, 130 years old. We have organizations from DeLand that are very strong and have done a lot of things here. And what I see up here, it's not easy for me to say, but what I see up here is interpersonal relationships interfering and breaking down these women's organizations. And I am talking about you, Kelly, the mayor. And it's not
You have
to...
to direct the council.
Okay. So it's not to shame anybody, it's to plead. Like, let's bring back. I really, really want these women's organizations and other organizations to come together in caring and compassion for the community. I don't want to see the dais used to shame people, to demand people forgive, to hash out interpersonal relationships, to punish, because I've seen a lot of people who are afraid. Now they're afraid of what's going to happen to me if I say something, if I stand up for myself. What kind of punishments are going to happen to me? And unfortunately, I'm seeing it among city staff too, the ones that I've talked to, who are afraid for their jobs, who are afraid of standing up, who are afraid of doing the work that they've done for years and years and years, and people who have left feeling defeated. Like, what? I've done so much. I poured my heart into this city. There's a lack of respect. There's a lack of community. That our mayor position it's a weak mayor position, which means that the mayor doesn't have any more power than anybody else, but it's a figurehead. So what's supposed to be happening is the mayor goes to Tallahassee, secures funding for critical infrastructure. The mayor goes to community organizations and brings people together. The mayor takes citizens' complaints. The mayor comes with innovative solutions. The mayor brings people together. And that is what our mayor did run on and promised to do, and I would really like to see that happen. Thank you.
Okay, next we have John McHugh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me, council members. I'm here to talk about the recruitment. I can't stay through the agenda items, so I thought I'd just throw my 2 cents worth in up front. I've got quite a bit of experience in recruitment for city managers and county managers, having gone through them myself. I've had some of them where they've been through private recruiters. I've had some of them use the FCCMA, ICMA, the Range Rider program. And the one thing that I always understand in a recruitment is it's not just, in this case, we have Ms. Davis here as an interim manager. I personally, and it's just me, believe she is more than qualified for the job. She's got 30-something years of history in this city. She's run the finances forever and ever. As a matter of fact, she was the first person I ever turned my finances over when I was a city manager or a county manager. I never gave them up to my finance director. I always did them. But I turned them over to her because of her capabilities. One of the things when you go through a recruitment with somebody in the current interim position with this much background in the city is your recruits are going to be limited because probably 80% of the time the interim gets the job. And when that happens, you're not only putting your staff through a tumultuous situation, not just Ms. Davis, but the other candidates. They come in with an expectation of being on equal footing with each other, and they're not. It's just a fact of life. It's not that she's better or worse than the other. She's here. She's got the continuity. And the other thing I want to bring up is I've understand that there's been a significant amount of turnover in the leadership of the city. And that presents a big problem for somebody coming in that front door. To me, that's the single big problem that a new city manager would have. There's no continuity, there's no institutional knowledge. Your department directors are just getting their feet wet. Now you got a new city manager coming in trying to get their feet wet. And that's a long time. That doesn't happen overnight. You don't just come into the city as a city manager and things start clicking like that. It doesn't work that way. New relationships have to be formed, trust has to be earned, the council has to be comfortable, communication has to be both ways. I've seen Christine in action. She's wonderful. As a city manager, I think she'd be remarkable for this city. I know you're going to have a meeting with, I think, somebody from the Range Rider program or something later on, or saw something about that. I don't know when it was coming up. They're a great group of people. They do a good job. If you go down that road, I guarantee you they'll do everything they can to get you the qualified candidates. But just their experience and my personal experience, you got somebody there now. Don't put everybody through the stress if you can avoid it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharon Stafford.
Good afternoon. Good evening, I'm sorry. Sharon Stafford, 461 Clark Street, Orange City, Florida. By now, everybody know, when it comes to the city of Orange City, I do get a little emotional. It has been my understanding all elected officials, including council members, should not discuss issues that appear before them or on the dais. This does include the City of Orange City council members. This could be a violation of Chapter 286 of the Florida Sunshine Statute, also known as Florida Sunshine Law. After listening to a recording of the October 14 meetings, I listened to it several times to make sure I understood it. It appears private conversations and actions were conducted between council members prior to issues coming before this council. The violation of the Florida Sunshine Law was very, very thin. As a CEO, visionary, mentor, community advocate for our young adults, who my only concern is for their success. That's my heart, the youth. I ask you to please, please remember the eyes and the ears of these young people are upon us. They're watching you as well as listening to you. I would like to suggest to all council members to please, please be very cautious of this. Your actions are very important. Therefore, please use cautious as you do your due diligence to represent our community. Let's continue to encourage our young people to take stock in our community and local government. Professionalism matters. Professionalism matters. I do appreciate you. Thank you. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Feierdrich, did I say that right? I just know you as Paul. With the American Legion Post 259.
Mayor, council members, citizens, good evening. I'm Paul Frederick, past commander of American Legion Post 259. We serve the veterans and communities of Orange City and DeBary. We have initiated a new program in support of our local young people. The members of Post 259 have elected to award 5 $1,000 scholarships for continuing education to our 2026 graduates. The requisites are child, grandchild, or great-grand of a veteran, resident of DeBary or Orange City, high school senior with a 3.5 or higher GPA, written recommendations from 2 of the following: a teacher, guidance counselor, spiritual leader, elected government official, youth and/or sports coaches. Names of institutions of continuing education applying or accepted to, with a copy of the letter of acceptance. Provide a list of community service accomplishments. The submission date will be February 1st through April 30th of the graduation year. The date of the award will be at our local high school's May award ceremonies. A handwritten letter of application from the requesting student, no text or email. There'll be copies of these requisites at the table over there when I leave. The post.
Sir, can you address the council when you're talking?
Sorry?
Can you address the council when you're talking, please?
I can do that.
Thank you.
The Post wants to do what the American Legion stands for, and one of the 4 pillars of the American Legion is youth programs. We award certificates, we award programs, we back all the high schools, the elementaries, the middle schools. This is the first time our local post is getting into a scholarship program. You must realize it's not easy for us to come up with $5 grand, but we have come up with the money, and we've committed to doing it every year as long as we can. These are your children. I put kids through college and continuing education programs. I don't know where you go. I was then able to reach in my pocket and just shell it out. Copies will be on that table. Thank you. Bring your kids forward. Let them apply.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Patrick Murphy.
Patrick Murphy, 678 Swan Range Road, Blue Springs Villas, near the corner of Levitt and Rhode Island, speaking about the roundabout, maybe for the last time. A couple weeks ago, our HOA had a meeting. I was elected president of the HOA. At that meeting, not a single homeowner supported that roundabout. Recently, I posted to several places on the internet, including the Orange City Community site, Facebook site, and got some responses, and I kind of surprised. I got, up until a couple of hours ago, 46 comments. 41 of them were of the variety of no, hell no, and beyond. 13 angry likes on our own Blue Springs Villas site as well. Again, no one in support of it. I'd like to read just a couple of the comments, since you've heard from me before, a couple of the concerns. I believe if they put a traffic signal there, that it would cause more accidents from people trying to beat the yellow red light, running the red light, or pulling out in front of someone. I would encourage the RV boat storage to install a camera and share the inevitable mishaps, shenanigans, confusions, and wrecks that will occur. Hell no. The Orange City idiots that speed up to run the stop sign when they see you coming to stop will just run the yield sign at the roundabout the same way and probably kill somebody. Absolutely not. With all the tractor trailer traffic coming from all four directions, it would be a disaster. It is not one that is waiting to happen, but one that will happen. Please leave it alone. No, stop with these stupid roundabouts. No one, I repeat, no one, including me, knows how to properly use these. After it goes in, we can all gather our lawn chairs and watch the show. Bring snacks. It's going to be entertaining. There's more of the same. My request that I would rather, if I had my druthers, that we leave it the way it is and move on. However, my immediate request, since you're rolling along to approve and actually distribute the funding, is to have a workshop that's open to the community where, and I'm not talking an all day or morning, I'm talking an hour including discussion, where we can be presented the reasons why this is the best answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other citizens' comments at this time? You're on an agenda item. I mean, anything that's not on an agenda item? Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. I just need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
A second.
We got a motion, we got a second. Any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Kaylee? Call the vote.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Mayor Mark.
Yes, and the consent agenda passes. Moving on to 5 ordinances, first reading. 5A, ordinance number 696. Becky, could you read that, please?
Yes, this is ordinance number 696 on first reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, amending the introduction, future land use element, transportation element, housing element, conservation element, recreation and open space element, public schools facilities element, capital improvements element, intergovernmental coordination element, sanitary sewer solid waste, stormwater management, potable water and natural groundwater recharge element, property rights element, administration and interpretation, definitions in the official map series of the comprehensive plan in accordance with the evaluation and appraisal requirements of Florida Statutes Chapter 163, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Joe Ruiz, Development Services Director.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, City Council, respected members of the public, and thank you to our city attorney for reading that mouthful
was
worth
very
of
long.
ordinance into the record. It'll only happen one more time in the upcoming months, Becky, so thank you for that. And thankfully, it only happens every 7 years. So ordinance number 696, first reading before you all today, City Council, as has been read into the record. And so today, in concert with our consultants and city staff, sat down and went through and came up with this presentation, which is very comprehensive overall. I know you saw your packets, and I'm sure the hundreds of pages that you all received was lovely, and we hope that you read through it all, truthfully, because we did.
Is there a test?
No, there's not a test. It'll be open book, right, with the presentation today. So when we look at the comprehensive plan amendment and when we look at what is called the evaluation and appraisal review and the amendments that are presented to you all today, essentially Florida statutes requires that we look at 2 10-year planning programs. And so you're going to kind of hear some repetitive information from what came at the discussion and action about a month ago. So we're going to be looking at 2045 projected population, the amendment process itself, the amendment summary that was presented to you all in your packets, as well as what the next steps are for the EAR process. So 2045 projected population. When we look at what is presented before you here in this chart, really the city has grown significantly over the years. So I've been on and off with the city from since 2017. And I've seen the growth in the city. I've had a hand in reviewing many projects, both for residential and commercial. And so when we look at population projections, truthfully, these are projections based on data, right, and statistics, statistical information on how demographics are produced and how they come up with this. Is the data always accurate, or, you know, 1 to the T, 100%? No, there's always a margin of error, obviously, when it comes to these things. But it is backed data. It is data that can be studied and also have background to how, for example, Beaver, which is essentially who the state recognizes out of UF, it's the statistical or the demographic arm of the state, essentially, who they contract with. And so Florida statutes mandates that comprehensive plans be based upon jurisdiction, permanent and seasonal population projections. So based on the latest surveys that were available to us, it was projected that in 2025, the city's population will be at 16,051. And when you look across a 20-year span, 2 10-year periods, we were looking at a both permanent and seasonal population projection when we sat down and we looked at the percentages, and we have outgrown the county as far as our growth, right? So we wanted to keep a modest but a true percentage to our growth. And so we looked at the end of it all, 2045, with this practice and with this review of our comprehensive plan, looking at 19,956 residents in our city by 2045, right? And so based on Beaver's census data and the U.S. Census data, the city is expected to increase about 4,000 people within this 40-year span. We've seen a couple thousand since I started here with the city. And so we are only growing, and we do still have available lands to develop and things like that, which actually helped us in this evaluation over this 20-year period. So pursuant to Florida statutes, it mandates that plans be updated, and the components are based on these projections that you all see before you today. So when we look at that analysis memo that you all have in your packets and that was provided to you, there is what is called a land capacity analysis. And so, per the residential capacity analysis, it is per the American Community Survey that was done in 2023, which ranges between the years 2018 and 2022, data collected in that time period. The city's expected or projected to have 6,961 existing housing stock. So with the needs of 2045 and looking across a 20-year span, it's contemplated and projected that we will need an additional 1,908 housing units in the city to accommodate for the growth that Florida is seeing and the growth that is anticipated for us to see. When we look at that, so we look at that carrying capacity, and essentially what the consultant does and what the consultant, with something that is acceptable to the state, provides an evaluation of all the acreage that we have available yet to be developed within all these zoning districts. And so you can see the residential zoning districts we looked at, or future land uses, RH, RL, so residential high, residential low, medium, and whatever still zoned this county or future land uses county. And we also look at our mixed use areas, our mixed use activity center, office transitional, our general commercial. And then we also look at those areas that are for public use, industrial, and things like that, which that bottom bracket that you see, that bottom column or row, essentially doesn't produce any residential, right? That's all reserved for industrial lands, and there's no provisions in our comprehensive plan for any residential. So when we look at it, really, when we're evaluating our comprehensive plan and evaluating our city and available lands, we're in pretty good shape. The city's in pretty good shape. One of the things when we were meeting with our consultant and knowing that we had kind of a short time frame, we were concerned about how would the comprehensive plan look and things like that. And really when the data came in, I could really breathe a breath of fresh air, and also staff was just like, okay, we're not in a bad shape at all, right? And so when you look, our carrying capacity for residential lands, we have potential for 1,051 units. And then in our residential possibilities for MX, OT, and commercial, we can accommodate possibly a potential 4,300 units, exceeding well above the 1,900 that we would need for 2045. Now, mind you, and keep in mind, it's not to say that we will get all these units. It's just what can the land hold, right? There are provisions for commercial future land use areas that can have up to 12 dwelling units per acre and things like that. But typically what you're going to see in your commercial areas is commercial, right? And so that's what we anticipate. And then we anticipate in the mixed use areas, there are caps to how much residential you can have anyway. So that's all kind of looked at. And when we look at it, we're in pretty good shape. We also wanted to look at the commercial side of it, just to kind of maybe ease the question of, okay, we're looking at residential, and the reason why we look at residential is because that's where the demand, right? The residents that we're getting, it produces residents, and then obviously the commercial is what supports our rooftops. But when we look at it, so from the data of the 2022 to 2023 census data in this same American Community Survey, Orange City's employment rate grew 3.61%. So about almost from 5.9 essentially thousand employees to 6.2 employees within the same range that we've looked at with those 2018 2022. And so under the employment growth scenario, 3.61 annually to 2045, the existing 123 acres of commercial and industrial land is enough. Right, we've deemed it as enough to support. Say all these other units were built out, we still do have enough lands to accommodate the residential growth in our city on a commercial side. So just wanted to present that scenario to you all. So the amendment process, what does the city have to go through when we're looking at these year-based amendments? So the amendments are intended to address recent changes in Florida statutes. So in the packet, there was a large matrix of about 20-something pages in there, ranging back years and years of legislation and laws that have come about and have changed. Some of those exceeding 7 years, but it's always good to look back and was there something that the city missed? Was there something that maybe we weren't aware of, as laws are always ever-changing, as we all know, right? But we're required to update the comprehensive plan via the EAR process every 7 years. So it's a good practice and a good exercise for us to sit down. It makes us evaluate our comprehensive plan as opposed to reacting to applications perhaps that come in, and really looking at and saying, where are we at as a city? How is our framework? Because overall, the comprehensive plan is how we develop, right? As our city attorney read into the record, there's all these elements. And as planners is not just, right, looking at use. We look at all these items. Because our department is in charge of administering the comprehensive plan. And so our job is never boring, right? Now, when we look at this, and that's why it's fun to coordinate with all these other departments, with utilities and with public works, and just trying to figure out how do we develop and how do we develop correctly and wisely for our city. And so that's really what the framework of the comprehensive plan provides. How do we grow? So the updates to the plans through 2045 planning horizon include a second 2035 planning period. So from now to 2035, and then from 2035 to 2045. And then we updated also our future land use map series. And part of that is with a lot of the words that go into play with the comprehensive plan, you want visuals and you want maps that we can provide to people, be developers, be residents, be citizens, be agencies that provide grant funding and things like that, so that we have all this information codified, right? We've created policies, we have an implementation for it. Here's the guidance, here are the lanes of road that we anticipate. Here are what our road classifications are, so that when people are building and proposing development or looking to move into our city, they're not blind, right? They have a map that they can kind of look at and essentially reference and say, okay, I see where the city's vision is in reference to what the words are saying on the comprehensive plan. So amendment summary. When we look at the amendments, there were three key areas. So it's revised references, update map series, and update per statute references and statute changes. So the planning horizon, and as you looked in there, there was a summary that was provided to the Planning Commission and also for you all. The planning horizon now changes from 2035 to 2045. Things like agency names have changed, so now we're no longer looking at Department of Community Affairs. We're looking at the Department of Commerce, right? And so if you've looked on their website, Florida Commerce, it really shows what the state's initiative is, right? They're looking for commerce, they're looking for business to come into the state. But us as local municipalities have challenges that we've got to look at, and as we grow, how do we accommodate this growth and this commerce? And then so you look at Florida statutes references. Years ago, they repealed 9J5. And so now we look at updating per sections 163, 3202 of the Florida statutes. And then also there were definitions that were updated to meet new statutes and things like that, so that we are in compliance and making sure that all the references are consistent with the state Department of Commerce. So in the map series that was updated, we incorporated a new planning horizon as for 2045, as mentioned. And then we also presented latest available data. So we went in and we updated our map series to update classifications from FDOT, for example, that have changed in the functional class, that have been upgraded or maybe have even been downgraded as far as the classification of the roadways. We updated so that we can put in our capital improvements and things like that we are planning and anticipating. So we went ahead and made sure all of our maps were current, right? And we're reflecting what the policy changes are and essentially what our current situation is now and projected into the future. One of the things I did want to highlight as far as roadways, we looked at the 2045 projection, and it's something that stood out to me. All the roadways that would possibly be failing the levels of service in 2045 were none of our roads. They were all either county or state roads, right? So for us as a planning department, we looked at that as a plus, because it means that funding that is from the state and from the county will be coming into our city, right? To upgrade roadways and improve roadways and do widening and improvements and things like that, whatever is necessary to bring it to an acceptable level of service. So it was really a good analysis to look at and go, cool. Our name is clear, right? But we will be working with these agencies as roads fail to bring them up to level of service. And then one thing that was changed between our now and our presentation to the Planning Commission, and we wanted to add that into our presentation here, we realized that the map series did not have the CRA map, and there are policies in our comprehensive plan regarding the CRA. So we will be requesting that in your all's motion, we add the CRA map to have that as a reference and include that into our comprehensive map series. So some of the statutory changes that we were looking at, and really this is where kind of the nuanced language came in. There's a couple of other areas too that we'll get to, but we're looking at certain preemptions that we all presented to, that I presented to you all at the discussion and action hearing. And so it's provisions for substation preemptions, floating solar facility preemptions, and resiliency facilities. And I kind of wanted to just point those out. Because we did our best as staff to try to preserve these areas, especially our residential communities, our PUDs, that have a nature and a character where we could, to essentially make sure that these more invasive industrial uses don't necessarily go into those areas, and that we meet statute. However, we're able to regulate them as far along as we can, obviously considering Senate Bill 180. However, here, because we've got some flexibility because we didn't have any language, because we've got to update it to meet our statutes. And so within keeping in the bounds of the statutory language, so essentially one of the policies, 210, the city shall permit resiliency facilities in all commercial, industrial, and manufacturing land use categories consistent with the statute. Policy 2211, the city shall permit new and existing electrical substations in all land use categories except conservation or the historic district on the future land use map consistent with the statute. And then 2212, the city shall allow floating solar facilities in all land use categories except for conservation, residential developments within the MX and MX Activity Center, or historic district on the future land use map. So we really wanted to protect our historic areas, protect our residential areas, to say if we've got to allow them, this is where we'll allow them, and the state and the statute backs that. Some of the other statutory changes is financial feasibility no longer is a requirement of the capital improvements. So we can plan for capital improvements whether we have the finances or not. The state no longer requires whether it's financially feasible, right? So we deleted all the clauses that we had to regarding financial feasibility within the schedule of the capital improvements. Septic to sewer. We were commended by our consultant regarding septic to sewer because that's really one of the areas where many cities were lacking in their EAR updates. And so the fact that we do have a program for septic to sewer, and the city does have a long-range plan still in the works, but essentially we had to make some updates to provide and include those initiatives into our comprehensive plan that weren't there before. And it's really just to accommodate state statutes that have changed. For example, as was presented here, local governments to address the feasibility of providing sanitary sewer services to residential subdivisions of 50 lots or greater with more than one on-site treatment and disposal area per 1 acre. So we know the state has been more strict on septic tanks and things like that, and they are very pro-septic to sewer. So we have included our policies and our, in conjunction with working with Robert, our utilities director, to make sure that all these things were good for him on his end, applicable, and we can implement them and meet statute. The other thing also was the water supply plan. So the city council approved the water supply plan back in 2023. There is a statutory requirement that we included within our comprehensive plan now. And so what we've done is we kind of piggybacked the EAR process so that we didn't get kickback from the state and said, hey, consultant, can you help us also integrate our water supply plan? And they did. And so in the packet and in a lot of the new policies and things you see, that's really one of the biggest sections that you see changed is our water supply plan and our comprehensive plan. So all those changes discussed, our next steps. So it went to the November 5th Planning Commission hearing. There was recommendation of approval with one condition, which I'll get to in the next slide. Essentially today is the city council transmittal hearing. And so with this hearing today, so the EAR, or the comprehensive plan amendment update, is a living document. So essentially it comes to you all if you all bless it today for approval at first reading as well as transmittal, then we would send it out to both the state land planning agency, which is the Department of Commerce, and we would send it out to Volusia Growth Management Commission, where there's a state coordinated review of 60 days. So the state will essentially look at all of our changes, look at all of our amendments, see if it passes the litmus test, right? Does it pass the test of you're good to go? If not, they will provide comments and concerns on areas and things like that. However, they do provide us with a review and a report of everything and pretty much let us know, are we ready to pass go, or do we have to make changes to accommodate anything? And so all that review and coordination occurs prior to obviously that adoption hearing. Once the state's good, then we bring it back to you all, second hearing for adoption, right? And you all get a chance to also review those changes, if any, at that time as well. So it's really a living document. It's really a process that has multiple steps and multiple checks and balances, just to make sure that, you know, we're meeting state statute and that the state blesses essentially what we're doing. So at the Planning Commission hearing, I was not there, but the deputy director was able to cover, and it went with flying colors, and staff has done a great job collectively working on this project. The Planning Commission on November 5th made a recommendation to the City Council to approve Ordinance 696 regarding the ear-based amendments to the comprehensive plan, with the condition that a map or one of the maps depict the areas planned for the septic to sewer improvements and initiatives within the comprehensive plan map series. I had a conversation with Bernice once she updated me on how that went and things like that and what the rationale was, which from the outside looking in, normally I would go, that is a fantastic idea, let's put that in. However, the challenges that staff discussed on doing that is, and we discussed it with our utility director, the septic to sewer plan is still a work in progress. It is not fully designed and fully funded. So things may change with that plan. So we've done a lot of work to create policies and wording in there. And we also have internally, we have a kind of a map tracking of all these improvements and things like that, if should anyone need them, right? So the council want to see them, staff need them, or whatever's available to the public. We have that data available, right? And so as people are hooking up to sewer, the map, our GIS analyst is updating that and creating those updated maps and things like that. So it really is a work in progress that we don't necessarily want to tie ourselves down to a certain map design if things can change, right? Because funding can change, and we're not sure how that can go over the next 20 years. So typically, I would say that, you know, let's go with the Planning Commission recommendation. However, we've got, staff just has some reservations because not all of it is fully developed and fully approved and funded. So today, staff's recommendation to the City Council is to approve Ordinance 696 for the ear-based amendments to the comprehensive plan at first reading with the following actions. There's one that I'm going to caveat at the end that's not on this slide, but I will give you the reason why. So number one, addition of the CRA map to the comprehensive plan map series, and also authorize staff to transmit the amendments to Florida Department of Commerce and Volusia County Growth Management Commission for review, and that is really per state statute requirements. The other thing was, and I wanted to make sure that obviously we're capturing our current information and data and our current conditions here in the city. So I did notice, and we really didn't touch much of the stormwater element, mainly because the Senate Bill 180, we didn't want to make anything sound too strict. Neither did we want to loosen any restrictions. The introduction portion of that has some information that was per the previous year, per se. And so I saw on page 95 of 167 of those changes, it mentioned at that time stormwater flooding hadn't been an issue in the city, but considering Ian and considering Milton, there have been obviously flooding impacts in our city. So really, with the basin studies that we're waiting on the county to do and whatnot, if the council also is in agreement, what I will do and what staff will do is update that little blurb to know our current conditions and what's being worked on so that we can send it off to the state, and the state has that. The introductions to the elements are not required. We just have them there so that anyone reading it kind of has background data as to the rationale behind these policies, goals, objectives, and policies. But really, it's just background data. The state probably won't even look at any of that. However, for our posterity and our purposes, if you all allow, so I would say add a number 3 to say we will include information regarding our current flooding status in the introduction of that element. At this time, thank you to City Council, thank you to staff and our consultant that has worked very hard on this and trying to fast track this and make sure we didn't miss anything. And so I'm here to field any questions from the council.
So, the number 3, you said include the information on current flooding status?
Yeah, current
Is
flooding
that-
status that we've experienced
that
within the
enough?
last
Okay.
last couple of years.
And
yeah.
that needs to be included in this
In the
motion?
yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council on this item? No? Okay, well then we just need a motion.
So, Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion to, 1, approve ordinance, the council approve ordinance number 696 at first reading. Addition of the CRA map to, first reading, let me go back. Staff recommends that the city council approve ordinance number 696, which I am doing that, for ear-based amendments to the comprehensive plan at first reading with the following actions. 1, addition of the CRA map to the comprehensive plan map series, and 2, authorize staff to transmit the amendments to Florida Department of Commerce and Volusia County Growth Management Commission for review, and 3, include our current flooding status.
A second.
So we have a motion, we have a second. I just want to clarify that this is a motion from the city council, not a staff recommendation, for the record. Any citizen comment on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council for a vote. Kaylee?
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Councilmember Tiongson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Mayor Marks.
Yes, and ordinance number 696 is approved at first reading. Okay, moving on to 6, public hearing ordinances, second and final reading. We have none. 7, resolutions, we have none. 8, discussions and action. 8A, election of vice mayor. Kaylee Burleson, city clerk.
Keely Burleson, City Clerk. So election of vice mayor. Section 2.03 of the charter provides that the city council shall elect one of its members to serve as vice mayor. That is to be done annually at the first regular city council meeting in November. At the February 11th, 2025 meeting, Councilmember Harold Grimm was elected to serve as the vice mayor, and he does remain eligible to serve an additional term. Council members may serve no more than 2 consecutive years as vice mayor. He is only on his first year, so he's definitely eligible. Staff recommends council would determine who they wish to elect as a vice mayor. Normal procedure would be that council would announce any nominations. If more than 1 nomination is received, the mayor will call for a voice vote for each nominee. The nominee receiving the majority of votes will be elected to serve as vice mayor for a term ending November 2026.
Is it? Thank you. Okay, council, do we have any nominations? Councilwoman Knight?
Harry, are you interested in
Yeah, I'd like
serving
to go for,
for another
second term,
year?
Sure.
I'd like to nominate Harry Grimm as
Okay.
vice mayor for the next year.
Any other nominations on the floor?
I was going to suggest the same thing. I think you're doing a great job, and I
Thank
think
you.
that you've only been in there since February, right?
Yeah, not even
So-
a full year.
Exactly. So I think you should continue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Thank you, Lisa.
okay, so we only have 1 nomination on the horizon here, so that means that we don't need to do a vote on this, right?
I suggest that you have a
Do
vote.
Do you want a
Yes.
head nod?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of Harold Grimm as vice mayor for this year?
Term number 2.
Term number 2?
Aye.
Let's do a head.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So it's final. Congratulations, Vice
Thank you.
Mayor, again.
Congratulations. That was easy.
That was easy, huh?
That was easy.
Okay, 8B, consideration of sponsorship requests for a phase Pillar of Hope. Christine Davis, interim city manager.
Well, as the presentation's being brought up, I will start by saying we have two different sponsorships that I'll be covering tonight. One is a brand-new request, and the second is a repeat. The brand-new request came from a Taste of West Volusia event. It was the applicant has submitted a formal sponsorship request seeking waiver of the following: staff fees, special event application fee, facility rental, the advertisement assistance through the city's communication channels, and the policy does allow for a $1,000 waiver. And the sponsorship committee did convene and has a recommendation of approval for the sponsorship request. A breakdown shows that the event would happen on September 20th. Staff time that is anticipated is no personnel from our administration, 1 personnel from the fire department, 2 for Parks and Rec, none from police or public works, for a total of 3 personnel. The estimated hours would be 18. The rental fees there are 4 pavilions, pavilions 1 through 4. They each have a $75 fee for rental, or $300 for the day. The special event permit fee that's asking to be waived is $50. And the special event application at this time is not complete. And you will note in the recommendation that it's if approved, it's contingent on that staff review. That staff review includes things as an evaluation for safety. It goes through a number of channels, and just based on timing of the shorter 45 days that we approved recently, coupled with the 1 meeting a month for November and December, it wasn't feasible to push this off into the December 9th meeting and for the applicant to be able to advertise as you would want and expect.
Excuse me, I just want to, for the record, you said September 20th, but it's December 20th, so that's why this is in the
I didn't even
fast
know I did that.
mode.
So sorry, everyone.
It's okay. I just-
December 20th.
But it makes sense what you're saying, that's why we're doing this now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's could not wait. It was not recommended to wait, or the event would not necessarily be viable with that short a turnaround to advertise. So the fire marshal is estimated at 2 hours. Your standard rate for fire personnel is $55 for $110. Your parks had the 2 maintenance specialists. $40 is the standard rate for 8 hours at a total of $320 per staff, or $640 total. A summary shows the total fire fees of $110, police $0, park fees $640, rental fees $300, and the special event permit fee of $50. Total event cost would be $1,119.50. That would be a recommendation to pay for the $1,000 or waive the $1,000 in kind through the sponsorship program, and then the applicant would pay the difference for the $119.50, I believe. I do believe the applicant is here, as I believe she was making her way. No, quite all right. So at this point, that wraps up the staff portion, and we recommend that council discuss the sponsorship and if any, what level and if any, and council to approve the applicant's request.
So I have a question for you. Under the staff time, it says 16 hours for Parks and Rec, times 2. So I'm assuming that's 8 hours for each park person?
Yes, it would be an 8-hour shift, estimated before, the setup, the pre and then cleanup or monitoring, and then the cleanup afterwards, if any.
Okay.
And if it's less, there would be a refund.
Okay, so it's just
If
like
she
an estimate.
paid, if the there's a reconciliation at the end.
And then the other thing is they're a 501c3, so they shouldn't be paying tax, and I see tax on here.
Yeah, which
Okay.
it's removed, I think here, but it's not on the bullets, but over here in the total, I think it's included. But yes, we would remove that.
Okay, I just want to bring that to your attention.
No, appreciate it.
Any questions from the council?
I have a question. Thank you very much for the card. I just have a question. There is a City of Orange City logo on there, or is it a city-sponsored event, or? I wanted you to see what it would look like if you all sponsored it. Oh, I see.
Typically, when you provide a sponsorship in the past, it would be a city-sponsored event when you approve through the sponsorship.
Gotcha, I was just checking. And then the other thing, so these haven't been handed out yet? No. Okay, sorry. And then the other thing was, if you back up to the advertisement, did it say something about, I thought we had talked about this in a prior city council meeting about the LED sign.
Mhm.
Did we decide not to do that for?
We
But if
decided
it's a
not to.
city-sponsored event, we would?
That's up to you. It's at your pleasure.
I don't remember.
It's recommended at this point that it's as a request from the applicant.
Okay.
But it's once it's a sponsored event. If it's somebody's hosting a sale at their business, we're not.
Right.
That's not up for consideration.
But if it's a city-sponsored event, we'll put it on the.
Correct.
I was
And
just
and with
going back
the-
to hearkening when we were talking about that.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Knight?
Yeah, we did discuss that because we had talked about, we didn't want to open it up for other events that aren't sponsored by Orange City, because then we would have everybody coming forward, including businesses wanting to utilize the sign. So we wanted to keep it strictly for city-sponsored events and Orange City business.
Okay. Any other
Right.
discussion, council? I just wanted to say, I did see this flyer on social media, so that's something that you shouldn't have done yet, because that's against our ordinance to use our logo until you're approved. It's just letting you know, we're not, Do you want to come up? You want to come up?
Come on up.
See if anybody wants to ask.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So yes, I had asked Maddie about it because the time is so short, and she said I could post it, but I didn't think to take off
Yeah.
the
It's an
emblem. So that's my
It's an
fault.
honest mistake. I
Yes.
just wanted to let you know for future, before you get approved, don't use the logo. You can definitely put the flyer out, because you need to get that traction, right?
Yes.
But just so you don't get in trouble.
No, so I apologize. That
It's
was just
okay.
me trying to get the word out so I can come to you with what we already have. So the sheriff's office is already donating a Deland SWAT Bearcat, sorry. So it's the SWAT truck so the kids can go in and play around. We have a woman who donated a craft table for the kids to do Christmas crafts in the kids zone. We already have Lunch Credit Union that's going to be a part of it. And I myself, I have a wine bar here in Orange City, so I'm a business owner right here in Orange City as well. So I am sponsoring the Mr. and Mrs. Claus. I am sponsoring, the photographer so the kids can take a picture with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And the Mayor Kelly Marks, you've been to my event last year. You saw like anything I put on, it's great. It's awesome. The community shows up, so I'm excited. And people have been sharing. They've been asking questions. They're so excited. They're tagging their friends. So I do think this would be a great city event, and Orange City needs this.
Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so just need some action from the council. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mayor Marks, I'll make a motion to consider the sponsorship for Faith Pillars of Hope.
Can you say that again? I can't hear.
Make a motion to sponsor the request for Faith Pillar of Hope.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to Kaylee for action.
Councilmember Tiongson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm?
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford? Yes. Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jarms?
Yes.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Mayor Marks?
Yes, and the sponsorship request for Phase Pillar of Hope is approved. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to, sorry.
That's okay. We'll share. No. I'm good.
Okay, we're moving on to 8C, consideration of sponsorship request for Blue Spring Manatee Festival. Christine Davis, Interim City Manager.
So this is no new event. This is the Blue Springs Manatee Festival that would be scheduled for January 24th and 25th of 2026. The applicant has submitted a formal sponsorship request seeking waiver of the following: sign fees or staff fees, sign permit fees, special event application fee, facility rental fees, advertisement assistance through the city communication channels, and this is also an area where the policy allows for the waiver of up to $1,000. Your sponsorship committee did convene and has a recommendation to approve the sponsorship requests. This is a more robust program or partnership as it spans over 2 days and is arguably, it starts Friday, I believe, setup, runs through Sunday upon completion, and then there's a lot of after. So you'll see a much larger scale. No administration staff, 4 fire department personnel, 2 Parks and Rec, 2 police personnel, and no public works. They all fall under the recreation staff for a total of 9 personnel. The event would encompass Pavilion A2, A3, the football field, and the multi-use field. And again, we have the little sales tax that is not applicable, as they too are a 501c3. The total rental fees amounted to $350 a day or $700 for the event. The sign permit fee waiver was $50, along with an additional, the special event permit fee was $50, with the sign permit waiver of 25 times 2. And again, this one is under review, but we do have a little bit more time because the event's not taking place until January. But in the essence of getting it through the process, it was in arguably before the Taste of the West Volusia, so it's on a different timing track anyway. This is a little bit more comprehensive when you look at the breakdown of the fire marshal over the 2 days, of estimated at 4 hours both days, fire staffing a firefighter for the 2 days at 10 hours, your standard rate of $55, and when you look at day 1 against day 2, you then calculate out to $1,540 per day, or $3,080 for the 2-day event. The Parks Department, you have 2 maintenance staff at 10 hours over day 1 and day 2. That rate is set at $40 for $1,600, and then the PD staff. Since the publication of this, the cadets are not available, so we have deleted the line for the cadets, which has reduced the estimated police cost by $480. And you can see the officers, there's 2 officers at 8 hours a day, both days, and the total would be the $1,920 for the 2 days. A summary, our total park fees of $1,600, fire fees of $3,080, police $1,920, the rental fees of $745.15, which I suspect has that little bit of tax in it, so we'll remove that from the equation. So it's just the $700. Total sign permit fees of $50, and the special event permit fee waiver of $50. The total event cost is $7,400. Your program currently allows for the $1,000 sponsorship. Your sponsorship committee did convene and recommended approval. And at this point, staff is open for questions, but we recommend that you discuss the sponsorship level, if any, and approve as you see fit. But I believe you have people to speak on this one, so I'm getting out of the way.
Any discussion from the council? Councilwoman Darms?
I'm not sure who put this together, but I was a little confused about this. Are these signs where it says 4x6, 2x6, 3x9?
Banner signs, I believe.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
You can't, excuse me, you have to come up here if you want to speak. It's being recorded, that's why.
We have to provide, it's one of the reasons we have to provide the sizes that we're requesting to hang.
Okay.
And those are what we currently have.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council? No? Okay. The only comment that I have is that I was reading in our charter today, and it was saying, like, every sponsorship does not have to be approved, okay? And I was thinking about the fact that, and I said this before up here, is that after so many years, you have to be self-sustainable. You have to be able to take care of business here. You can't keep asking the city for money. And the prior sponsorship is a brand new event, so it makes sense to help them get started and make them successful. And I think over the years, Orange City has helped to make this event successful, that it brings a lot of people to the city and it's a good event. So my question is, you know, even it's in kind, but we still have to pay our employees. So it is money that comes out of the taxpayer money. And this event does make a lot of money, and the group that's proposed and just did a big event probably made some good money with the haunted house. So I think that they can excuse me, order. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Separate groups, you're correct. But there has been, there's people on the same boards, that's what I'm getting at. So when these groups come to us, I just want you to, we're trying to be consistent up here, right? Treat everybody the same. So once you start something, we have to do that for everybody. And that's why I'm bringing this up. I just want you to know that if we do this, keep this in mind, that if anybody else comes with us with an event that's been going on for a long time, you cannot turn them down if you're going to do everybody. Right. That's all I'm saying. If you agree to it, I'm in, you know. But I just want you to know that if they have the money, why are we giving it out? Okay. Last year they did, I think we had their financials. They brought in, can I ask the applicant what they, I know I have the paperwork, but I'd like to ask you, please.
I didn't bring those paperwork
Okay.
with me.
Okay.
There's no need.
I'd like the council to know what money was made out of the Manatee Festival last
And
year.
we gave away every dime except for what we need to put it back on.
Okay, thank you.
And no one makes a paycheck.
Okay, so we're not in the business to give money to someone to give out money. We talked about this before. So if they want to raise money for the community, that's wonderful. But do we want to take taxpayer money to give someone to give money to give out to the community? That's the question that I'm raising tonight. And this goes for any group, not just this group. But I want you to think about that before you vote. And if you feel that the answer is yes, then that's fine. But I just want you to think about that before you do it, because once you do it for one, you should do it for all. It's only fair. And there will be more groups coming. We just had Phase come, and there's going to be more because we're going to have more events in our city. So, and then we're going to have our LED signs going to be loaded with all these events. I love events. I think it's great. But we do not have to agree to every single one. So I want you to think about that. Councilwoman Knight?
I have a question. You mentioned that if someone's coming forward and they've been doing it for years, should we look at putting a cap on if they've been doing it for X amount of years, then they're not eligible? I mean, I'd hate, and the reason I say that is because I would hate to go yes for one that's been doing it for 20 years and no for another one that's been doing it for 15 years. You see what I'm saying?
So I think
I want to make sure that we stay consistent.
Are you finished? I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, sorry, that's okay.
I was going to say that would be in the sponsorship, what do you call it?
I mean, to amend the sponsorship
To amend,
program?
thank you. We would have to amend the sponsorship program, and we're not here tonight to do that, obviously. That would be something that would have to come up under new business. So that's all I'm saying. That's my point. I just want to be fair for all, okay? Councilwoman Stafford?
Yes, and I'm speaking in behalf of a resident who has been with the city for 60-plus years. And what quite a few people don't know about the Manatee Festival is that this started back in 1995. this is when the city, first it started in Valentine Park. It got so too big for Valentine Park, so they moved it to the fairground. Because at that time, they had log rolling, they had beauty pageants, we had a Miss Manatee, we had all of that. Something happened, I think a rain came along in the 1990s, and they had 2 days of rain. So when they prepared for the event out at the fairground, no one showed up, so they dropped it. Nobody wanted to be bothered with it. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. It was businesses in the community, nonprofit businesses in the community said that we want to do it again. They brought it back to Orange City Valentine Park. We had at that time, they had during that time we had our own chambers. It was the chambers that did it. It was the Rotary. It was the Lions Club. Everybody came in because they wanted something in Orange City, for Orange City. And at that time, Orange City was in bad shape itself. So when the Manatee Festival came, the city of Orange City went to them and said, would you do the advertisement? And it was City of Orange City, home of the Manatee. That's what we were. We were City of Orange City, home of the Manatee. And at that time, nobody nominated her in anything, but the Manatee was our mascot. And if you notice, like in some of our Christmas parades, you have people dressing the Manatee up because that was our mascot. And for us, and when Orange City was in trouble and they needed the Manatee Festival, it was Blue Spring Manatee Festival, Inc. They came in, people came from all over the world to our Manatee, okay? And when they came from all over the world to our Manatee, it brought revenue into our city. And our city, what they did was they gave back, everybody was volunteers. At that time, Yaba and a couple of more people, for purposes only they knew, it was volunteers. They stayed at the fairground, at the Valentine Park. They did security for us. They wanted that to happen because they were proud residents of Orange City. And when they did that, everything is volunteer. Nobody on that Manatee Festival get paid one dime. The only thing they did do after each festival, they would have a dinner to celebrate what they had accomplished that time. Right. The Manatee Festival gives back to mostly residents of Orange City. And when they have monies left over, if someone else come and need a donation, they give it to them. It's not like some of these people that come in here and you let them come in, they get people's money and give nothing back to the residents. They might pay whatever fees we charge, but as far as giving back to the residents, and now it's a hard time for everybody. And people can go to the Manatee Festival now and say, okay, I got laid off, I don't have food to eat. They're gonna do their best to get them some food. They're gonna give them some money to help them pay their rent. They're gonna give them money to, I know for a fact that they have done this for several people. They help the residents of Orange City first, and then whatever they have left over, they give to other people that might need it. But they focus on our residents, not like some of the private companies that comes in now. They make all the money, they pay the city whatever fees we charge, but they take that money outside. They don't care at all about the residents. They don't care about our residents. The Manatee Festival, I know for a fact, cares about our residents. So why would we not, all this vindictive personal stuff that we got going on, we need to stop it. We need to keep our Manatee Festival here in the city of Orange City. And we need for the same people that came up with it and develop it, we need them to continue to support us in whatever we do. When Orange City needs something, Manatee Festival is here. Why can't, when Manatee Festival needs something, Orange City be there to support them? I have seen this firsthand over 60-something years, that they come out and they take care of the residents of Orange City. So all this other foolishness, some of this stuff has happened before any of us, not any of us, but anyone on this dais except for me was here. So you all don't understand how important it is for us to keep a relationship with people that has always kept a relationship with us. What we're doing is wrong. What we're doing is wrong.
Okay. Order, please. First of all, I want to say that we're not we're not just like, I think what they do is great. I know what they do for the community, okay? I know that they give out to all these nonprofits, which is wonderful. But they put on an event for how many years now? And they made money last year. So either you put some money away for next year or you give it all out. And I heard they gave it all out to the nonprofits, which is wonderful. Excuse me. So what I'm trying to say is that we're up here to decide what we're going to do with our taxpayer money, okay? Excuse me. Just give me a
I'm
second
gonna
here.
let you finish, because I have something to say about our taxpayers' money, which is part of my
Excuse
money.
me. I have the floor. Thank you. So what I'm trying to say is that they should be self-sustaining after this many years, because we can't keep carrying them. So if most events that you put on, I'm sorry, if you're going to disrupt the meeting, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, and I'm going to have the Sergeant at Arms. So please stop.
This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. We're only visiting nonprofits because we're mad that we stood up to you.
Chief, can you have her removed?
That is it.
Can you have her removed? She's disrupting the meeting. Thank you. So what I was saying is that when people put on events, they either save money from the year before to start the event and pay for the fees, or they get sponsors, and that's how events work. So if you can't get the sponsors to cover it, then maybe you shouldn't be doing the event. But let me back up. Yes, this event is great for Orange City. It brings people into town. It gives back to nonprofits. It has all those positives. No vindictive. We're making decisions up here for the residents of Orange City, and their money is part of our deal. We are fiscally responsible for the dollars that go in and out of this city. So what I'm saying is that if they've already done this for how many years? Would you say 50 some, I think, or? No. 40 years. Okay, 40 years. If they can't sustain now, are they ever going to sustain? It's just like what you said about food. If you give somebody food, after so many years, they gotta take care of themselves. You can't keep enabling them. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm not saying that we're gonna enable them. What I'm saying is we're working in partnerships with these people. When we don't have, they step in and gladly give the city whatever they need. You know, it's not a one-sided affair. They can't sustain themselves. They've been sustaining themselves because they've been giving back to the city. Orange City will do X, Y, Z for them, but these people have been giving back to the city, which is the residents of Orange City. The residents of Orange City is profiting from what they do. And that's what I'm saying. We're not sustaining them in any type, we're not giving them in any, we're helping each other to survive.
Did you want to speak, Councilwoman Thompson?
I do, and I have no emotional involvement in this whole thing.
Yeah, me neither.
So I'm looking, what? Did I hear bullshit? Okay. Anyway, I see that there's a total estimated cost of $7,445.55 to the city-ish, not the $45 because of the
Correct.
taxes.
You got it.
So $7,400. So my question, and I'm gonna spin it a different way, is not about sustainment. It's not about how long they've been here or what's happened. We're taking $7,400 of not our money and spending it for our taxpayers who may or may not go to the Manatee Festival. And we're taking the money that the Manatee Festival is earning and giving it back to the community, but we're in essence taking $7,400 and giving it to the community. Is that what we're saying?
No, I don't think so.
Kind of.
Isn't the $7,400, they have to pay for all the services except for $1,000 is what they're asking for, correct?
Under the sponsorship policy, you limit a maximum contribution of $1,000.
Okay. So that $7,455 is just the estimated cost of our
all of it.
Overall cost,
Right.
and as I hope indicated in the agenda item, the difference would be paid by the applicant,
Right.
and would be estimated a refund if it came in less,
Okay.
or more if it came
So
in
we're
more.
looking at $1,000 of in-kind.
Your current policy allows $1,000.
$1,000 of in-kind. Got you. That was my question.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to clarify, excuse me. This is not emotional for me. I just want to make the right decision for the city. And alls I'm saying is, if you do it for one, you do it for all. So if we're going to do it, then we're going to do it. But just keep in mind that you set the presence for the future, because you cannot stop other people if you do this for one. And that's what this is about. It's not, I told you, I'll say it over and over again. I think the Manatee Festival is awesome. I think you all work very hard. You give a lot of money out to all these groups, but that money should not come from the city tax dollars. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Ask a question then. It is not so emotional right longer now, but it's common sense. Okay? And so what you're telling me, if they don't put the Manatee Festival on, or if they decide to put it on and they charge the city $10,000 to put that festival on, like somebody did with the city of Deltona, you charge them a fee, they pay you, you charge them a fee, they charge you a fee for putting an event on, okay? You get, they'll get only like a certain percentage of the fee that the city pays them. The rest will go back into the community, is what you're telling me.
I don't follow.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Okay.
So,
What I'm asking is, and I did some research myself as well. When you did an event in Deltona, you charged them for doing that event. Kelly Marks, whatever, charged them for that. Kelly Marks, whatever, got 10% of whatever fee the city paid to that event, right?
No,
That's not it.
that's not what happened in Deltona, no. Do you want to know what happened?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So the city of Deltona wanted events in Deltona. So K-Mark's events went there. But, you know, I don't need to air my personal stuff, but I will just to make y'all happy. The city of Deltona did not charge me for their event because they didn't have any events and they were dying for events. So they charged me for police only because it's Volusia County Sheriff's. But everything else was in kind because they wanted a big event there.
Kelly Events charged them X amount of dollars
No.
for doing the event?
I didn't charge the city anything. They didn't charge me. They charged me for the police. So what, I don't understand what my personal business has to do with this city
But
business.
what I'm saying is, the Manatee Festival, we asked the Manatee Festival to come here. We asked them to. Years ago, we asked them to. They have been working in partnership with the city to make sure that this event is carried on each and every year. If they can't afford to do the event because they don't have the support for the city any longer, will the city bring someone in that would pay, the city would pay to do the event for them?
I can't answer that for the city. That's not my decision. But the bottom line is if you're going to have an event, you got to be able to afford it. And if you can't, you go out for sponsorships, which that's what they're here for tonight, is a sponsorship. But what I'm saying is the city's not in the business to keep giving money out to someone that's been doing it for 40 years. It's time to find other sponsorships, and we need to give boost to new businesses or new events that come in and get them going. We were not around when this started, and the city asked them to come, so I can't even speak on that. I can just take your word for it. Okay, that's fine, because it's a great event. I agree, and it brings people.
It brings
it brings in
revenue.
revenue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not questioning that at all. I'm just trying to take care of the taxpayer dollars here. If we're gonna do this, I'll say it over and over again. Just keep in mind we have to do it in the future. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say don't do this to the council. I said think about it when you make that decision, because when the next group comes and asks for $1,000, we're going to keep giving $1,000 out because we have roads to fix. We have stormwater problems. We're trying to build facilities. I mean, things are tightening up for us too. So we really should be selective and not just keep handing out $1,000 because we like them, you know, because they're a great event. We need to look at all the figures around it. Is how long you've been in business? Is the event successful? How many people does it bring to Orange City? You know, Do you give out to nonprofits? Yes. So they check a lot of those boxes. But the one box that they don't check is they've been in business for 40 years, and it's time to find other funding. You can't if you continue to keep asking the same people for revenue for sponsorships, I could tell you just from experience, then you're going to get sponsors that are just going to go, I'm done. Like, you should be able to do this yourself now. So that's just from experience. So that's what I'm saying is, if we're going to do this, let's call a motion and do it. But I'm telling you that you need to think about the future too, because that's our job up here, is to think about the future. And if other groups come to us, be ready, right?
Yeah, but can we hear from the Manatee Festival to see their purpose? And she's dying to say something.
I mean,
Can
I
we
think
hear
we
from
already
the-
know their purpose. It was all in their packet.
Just
If-
like
do they
their-
want to come
just
up and
like their
speak? As long as
finances
it's not
was
going to be a
too, but-
personal attack, come on up. Okay.
It doesn't even mention your name.
Thank you.
My name is Christina Bertrand. I'm sorry, I'm a little upset.
And you have to address the council, please.
My name is Christina Bertrand. I live at 1298 Catherine Street. I'm going to skip the first part of my speech because it doesn't matter. When you give an $8,000 bill, which it dropped a little bit to $7,000, to a nonprofit, that's detrimental. Yes, we do put aside money every year to sustain us and pay all of our bills to put the festival on. Yes, we do that. So yes, we sustain ourselves. But when the city went after us vindictively, then the bill, we weren't prepared to take on an $8,000 extra bill. I have gone over your council budget, and you have stated in the past and today that you must answer where your money goes and how it is being spent. It is appalling to see that the council's budget from 23-24 to 25-26 has increased by $73,315. And it seems as though your travel per diem is up by $34,090. That means someone or a few council people are using this as their personal expense accounts, when no other council has needed $49,000 a year for this. You have even increased your pays by $15,000. And for the council special events, you have increased that to $20,030, and that is a $12,350 increase in 1 year. That does not include 4th of July. That doesn't include any of those events because they're in another part of the budget. So I don't know what these special events are, but they're not for the citizens. These special events and the sponsorship area for 25-26 is listed at 0. So I would say that the sponsorship program looks like it's going to be dismantled or disband, whatever you want to say. This is a sad and terrible way for the council is turning, putting the money into your pockets and for your benefit. I have lived into this city for 24 years and raised my daughter here. My husband and in-laws have lived in this city for 43 years. We love Orange City and the wonderful community that it is, but the way the council is changing and using it makes me and many others sick. The council has the ability to change this today and sponsor all in-kind services for the Manatee Festival. Working together with the city has always been a staple and the charm to our small town. Giving back to those in need and creating better opportunities for our children is really what it's all about. But that's not what you guys are about anymore.
You want to come up?
Jeff Alderbeck, 482 West Holly Drive, Orange City, Florida. I think there was some misconstrued conversations of the history of the Manatee Festival. The sponsorships were brought on by former city managers who loved the idea that non-paid volunteers organized the festival so their public works staff didn't have to do any of that, and they were happy to have public works and Parks and Rec and different groups be a part of it. So we had a event in January to show off Orange City and how nice our community could be. It was a community fundraiser because at the time in the 90s when Tony Yeba and Ted Irwin and other council members, the policy of the Orange City Council was no donations, because Ted Irwin said exactly what your mayor said today. He had the idea that if you say yes to somebody, everybody's gonna ask and it becomes political. Like, you have to say yes or you won't get reelected and things of that nature. So when the festival was raising money, guess where people that would have gone to the council went to get donations? People like the fire cadets, the police cadets, the DARE program that couldn't be funded because the city of Orange City couldn't even afford shotguns, that they had to get a donation from the city of Altamont Springs. So now that you're flush and the city's flush from getting growth and leadership of the past, you want to claim that we're milking and mooching off the city, or it feels that way. And you might be right, because we were a partnership. But don't just kill it. Go ahead and make a motion that you no longer want the Manatee Festival in the city because it's old and decrepit, and all the new people should get money. Not people that put 30 years of their time into putting an event on for the city of Orange City. My first Manatee Festival meeting was August of 1995. So, and even now, taking away the $5,000, the world is more expensive, and that was the first cut. Now it's here, we'll give you $1,000 and you gotta pay $7,000. You know how much your logo should cost being on my website? But you haven't paid any of that for years. So it wasn't about supporting us and carrying us. You were paying for advertising for our community. How many ads have the city of Orange City paid for in other magazines, things like that? It is a process of the city function. So, and our insurance doubled. So it's not a matter of maybe you're right. We shouldn't be in the business anymore because it's too damn expensive and nobody gives a shit. So just go ahead and vote yes on the grant, but it won't mean anything. So just make a motion you want to cancel the festival and start with a bunch of new clubs to see who will last 40 years. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Christy Gonzalez. You need my address here, right? 470 Redwood Avenue. I just wanted to say I understand your point of view where, yes, we should consider how long we've been supporting different groups and putting money out to them. But I really think with that, we need to consider, okay, yes, we've been supporting them, but how much have they given back to the community? If they're giving back as much as this group has with the Manatee Festival, that's pennies on the dollar. And I think 100% it is worth supporting them and showing that, yes, we want you to continue doing that Manatee Festival and bringing in people, not just the community, but outsiders to support the festival, to support our businesses, and to bring that money in. And then as Ms. Stafford was saying, you know, put that money back to people who need help with different other things. So I think 100% it is worth that time and that investment to, especially looking at how high that bill is. Nobody can afford that easily. So $1,000, that would go pretty far, I'm thinking, especially again, when you consider how much money we're getting back into the community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's bring this back to the council. Hold on a minute. We're not actually at public comment yet. We're still in discussion. So let's finish discussion and then we'll go to public comment. It got out of order. I'm sorry about that. But let's bring it back to council for action or discussion, because we could talk about this all night. I think everybody has got a good rounded thing of what's going on. We've heard from the applicants. I should have only taken the applicants, so I apologize for that. That's my mistake. And we will have public comment after. But we did, I think Mr. Alabak brought it up. We did cut the $5,000 for the same reason of, we got a lot of things coming up that we're paying for, so that's why we did that. And not only that, when you looked on the actual budgets, people would say, well, why are you giving them $5,000 and not me? We had several groups come in and they were very upset, right? So that's why that went away. But then moving forward to this, now we're into the in-kind, and that's what the discussion's about tonight is the in-kind. And we agreed to do the $1,000 as in-kind. And I think Councilwoman Knight brought it up that maybe in the future we need to amend it if that's how we feel. If that's how the council feels. And, but at the end of the day, we need to make a decision because we could be here all night talking about this. Yeah. So I think we need to move it along and we need some kind of motion.
Are you going to vote without citizen comment?
Yes. We do citizens' comment after we do the motion, and then we...
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we continue with the $1,000 for the Manatee Fest to go on this year. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Public comment? Ms. Brooks, you want to come up?
Leah Brooks, 313 West French. First of all, I want to apologize for my outburst. It was completely uncalled for, and I sincerely apologize. Second of all, you call this a business. It's not a business. It's not Kmark's Enterprise. This is a nonprofit. It's a big, huge difference. The way they operated within the city was standard for many, many years. We did take away the $5,000, and I actually led the charge for that. And I said, hey, this is a line item thing, and they should be treated like everybody else. But what I'm seeing is now we're being asked to treat them not like everybody else, saying because they actually make a profit and give it back into the community, that maybe we shouldn't be giving them any money because they should be more responsible with their money. This is not the way they've operated for years and years and years. This is not the year to do this, but also this is Orange City. This is the Manatee Festival. 40 years, the Manatee Festival. I would be so ashamed of our city if we took away sponsorship completely, and that's not anything that I wanted last year. They are just asking for the police, the fire, things like that, $1,000. That's all they're asking for. Last year, the council said, we want to take away the $5,000, but we want to still continue sponsorships like this. To say, no, we're not going to continue sponsorships because, geez, I don't think they run their business like they should. They're not a business, people. It's a huge difference. They're a nonprofit that cares about the community, that's doing a treasure. This Manatee Festival is Orange City. It is a treasure. There's no other city around that has this. We should not be punitive, and that's exactly what I got up and said before. Stop the punitive personal attacks, please.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, Gary?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Gary Knight. I live at 1555 North Silverstone Court, Orange City. Oop. My pointer fell. Anyway, as a citizen of Orange City, okay, and one that's like, I guess I'm 76 years old. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks.
Orange City, to me, okay, is home. I've been here a short, I don't know, 12, 13 years, but it's become our home. And the Manatee Festival, we used to come up and visit the Manatee Festival earlier when we lived in Altamont, or like when we lived in Orlando. We'd come up and we'd visit. So the way I look at it, Orange City, okay, everybody kind of took away the $5,000 line items on everybody, okay, which is totally understandable. But when a nonprofit comes in and says, we need help from Orange City, we're going to put on the Manatee Festival, and everything that all these people come in and they spend money in Orange City, okay? And all they're asking from us is real simple. We need some taxpayer money to help pay for the police, help pay for some of the signs and stuff like that, and it's just $1,000. But they're coming out of their own pockets with like $6,400, or maybe Garland knows probably a lot more. But all that money they get that back, they pay it, and then what they make ends up going back to the city. And what's left over, they may give it to some other nonprofit that they're also associated with, but they give it back to the city as well. So I think it's best, as a citizen, I think I would like to pray to the council, please listen to these folks. Give them the $1,000. They deserve it. They take care of Orange City. They are actually Manatee. I can remember the Manatee in Christmas parade last year. I shook his hand. Or his flipper, right? Flipper. So it's something that Orange City is associated with the Manatees. It's Blue Springs State Park, Orange City. That's all I have to say. Give them $1,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the council. Kaylee, we call the question?
Vice Mayor Grimm?
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Darms?
Yes.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Councilmember Tiongson?
Yes.
Mayor Marks?
Yes, and the motion passes for the sponsorship for the Manatee Fest for $1,000. Okay, moving on to 8D. Florida City County Manager Search Program. Christine Davis, Interim City Manager.
At the previous city council meeting, I believe, actually it might have been two, on the 14th, Mayor Marks presented a handout, and that handout was the Florida City County Manager Search Guide. And with that, the staff was asked to investigate the opportunity to work with the association for a free service. In the small print in that item, it did indicate that a city eligible for that program had to be 10,000, population of 10,000 or less. Fast forward, I met with a senior advisor, Mr. Kenneth Parker with FCCMA while I was at the ICMA conference, and we spent well over an hour together going through with a fine-tooth comb what the program, even though we don't qualify for the free program, could afford the city that would help reduce the cost of a city manager search. So as outlined in the agenda item, I'll go over basically the program highlights. And the program highlights are the Senior Advisor Program can provide guidance for the process, which would help include developing the candidate profile, creating the outreach plan, and conducting a resume review. The services are delivered by a experienced former city manager and are offered at a low cost. It is a group, not an individual, and it's typically the costs are limited to reimbursing the participants for any mileage. The city still bears the full cost of certain things. The city does retain full control over the process. It's managed by and funded for the other recruitment components, such as the advertising and background checks, are borne on your budget. We would have to budget for those. The resumes submitted by applicants are reviewed by the senior advisor team and categorized into one of three groups. The team does not make candidate recommendations. Rather, they review these and generate a paper-based review or evaluation. Applicants, under this process, any applicant's resumes and questionnaires become public record upon receipt. The advisor program is basically a hybrid recruitment approach where it enables the city to manage the hiring process internally while receiving expert guidance from the FCCMA advisor. Then it is a reduced cost compared to a firm that you could retain. Staff does recommend that council review the material that was provided, and we've given you some possible motions to consider. Oh, closing note. Mr. Kenneth Parker is available to come on December 9th to speak to council if they wish.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, any discussion or questions?
I'll go.
Okay.
So what I'm understanding from what you surmised together is that they will assist, they will do it for free if we're under 10,000 constituents, but we are not. So they will do it for a fee, which is generally a nominal charge for their mileage and whatnot, but they do it as a on gratis, pretty much their knowledge and what they can assist us with. So that would also afford, you said they do the recruitment, they assist with.
They actually help craft.
Yeah.
They, the applicants or any resumes would come to staff and then be provided to them to review.
Okay.
Unlike a firm that would, all of that would be done by that firm.
So let me ask you this question with regard to a profile of what we wanted our city manager opening to look like if we went that route.
Yes, ma'am.
They would help craft that as well as far as like guidelines and what is requirements and those kind of things, you know, what qualifies you and that kind of thing.
They would actually facilitate information from you all to help.
Gotcha.
And a lot of it's done through staff, then provided to them, but
Right.
you do get to work with the advisor.
So that's my next question then. If staff is doing this mostly on staff's back, basically it's going to be out of our budget, which understandably it would be if we got a private firm too. So,
Sure.
you know, apples and oranges and apples and all that stuff. But also, would that create a conflict since we are in the situation that we are currently for
Not really.
staff?
I did talk, and maybe Ms. Becky can chime in. The process would not be managed by myself.
Right.
And I couldn't answer that the night that we had that. I said, that's a little interesting.
Right, right.
Because it was a very interesting question, or a valid one, but it would just be managed by your city clerk and your city attorney.
So they would
and
gather and
they
whatnot.
would help facilitate,
Gotcha.
opposed to myself.
Gotcha, gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was my questions.
So, let me understand this correctly. I'm gonna kind of reiterate what you said a little bit and then add to it. So what I'd like to see is an advisor work with us, like you're talking about, and give us the tools that we need. You know, because we need to know, you know, what do we want in a city manager and, you know, things like that. What does our city want? You know, economic development, whether it be economic development, and I think that's what Dale was hired for a long time ago, is that was one of her strengths. So we would all have to decide what strengths we want in our city manager. And I think the advisors could help us get there with the questions that we need, or guide us with the forms that we need, or getting it out there. But I still think we need to go for a search. After that, I don't know that they are the ones that should go searching. That's where I'm kind of on the fence about. Could you touch on that, maybe, on what the difference is between them and a search company?
Well, the biggest, to summarize how it was explained to me, is with a firm, you get turnkey. With this, you get to do a hybrid of where you're utilizing your in-house resources and staff, and they will help guide you through the process. And that's how it was explained to me, and that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You pay $32,500 for turnkey. You pay your actual cost out of pocket, plus some nominal amount for these individuals who will review your or help you craft your advertisement, help you review your resumes, and come present to you those resumes, but they don't give you a recommendation where your firm would give you a recommendation. They would help do different type searches than just a background check. They
So
would
if-
look at social media, they would look at newspaper articles. With this, you don't necessarily get that in-depth evaluation.
So if they craft all these things, and then we get, let's just say we get 50 resumes, right? Come in.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes to the clerk and the attorney, is that correct, to decide?
Well, no.
Before it comes to us, is there a
Oh,
short
no,
list,
they're-
or?
No,
Attorney
No.
doesn't do any
you
of
would
that.
make your short list based on
We would,
them
okay.
categorizing those 50 apps into one of 3 placeholders.
I see.
And
Here,
bless you.
Everybody bless you.
So that would be you won't get a recommendation like you would from your firm, who would go through and look what
'Cause I-
best models your.
Mr. McHugh, when he spoke earlier.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to him earlier, he was saying, like, you got to be careful when you get firms. Sometimes you could go through this whole process, spend $35,000, and then you end up, you could either, number one, not like any of them, or you could go back to your interim, right? Because that's what, and I'm still not clear. Are you going for the job?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't think I didn't know that, so I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So,
And
Go
I've
ahead.
got one other thing that I wanted to just touch base on. So when I was not on the council and in the audience, and I remember when we went through and we actually had gone through a search and we paid the monies and they brought forth applicants and it was debated on council and the prior mayor and
I think it
all
was
of
city
those
clerk
things.
that
It was the city clerk position, and it ended up being an internal placement. Long story short, and Kaylee was the successor because there was just a bad choice, or whatever happened. I don't remember what happened. I just know that that was taken away. That position was, that person was let go,
Oh.
and Kaylee filled her
Oh.
shoes.
but
Not
she
that
still
Kaylee
went
was
for
a
the
bad
job.
choice. Let me just clarify that for
Yeah.
everyone. That's not what I said. Anyway, so that kind of happened. So as far as due diligence is concerned, and being just like making sure, because constituents and the public sat through and watched that happen as well. And it was explained why she left, right? And the things that were done. And so I don't know, it's a very difficult position where you're at, and it's a difficult position where we're at, because we want to make sure that we don't not uncover every stone. And I think in the public side, maybe that would be a way, if we don't look and see. Some people would say, no, you have a great interim city manager, keep her, do this, and move along with life. Others would say, well, wait a minute, should you look, should you go out and see if there's anything else out there for our city? That's where we're at right now, and I don't have those answers. There's 6, 7 of us up here, and I don't have that answer.
Councilwoman Darms?
This is a little wobbly. We just had a discussion about trying to save money for the town. And if we do any of this, we're gonna have to pay for this, okay? How long are you planning to wait till you retire?
Minimum. I need 3 years. However, I'm only 55. I am not eligible for Medicare for a very long time.
That's right.
It's a safety net. There's a difference between when is Christine retiring and when is she eligible to be comfortable to say, hey.
Well, the reason I'm
I have
asking
no retirement
is because
date.
if we were looking for somebody through, whatever organization, I'm guessing we would expect that when we pick somebody, they're gonna hang in there for at least 5, 7, 8 years.
Sure.
That sort of thing, maybe longer.
Yeah,
But you've got plenty of time before your retirement age.
I do.
And my observation over the last several months, I personally have been happy with what we're getting from the city manager's corner. And I'm actually getting information and stuff that I wasn't getting before, and I appreciate that. That makes it a little easier once we're sitting up here. So I don't know what we're supposed to do to try and make it, like, if we want to make this official for you, the direction we need to go. And I would support Christine.
I would like to comment on that. So we should not take this lightly.
No.
The city manager runs our city.
Right.
Runs all our or I'm sorry, not runs, but handles all our employees. We don't run the city. We make decisions. We're policymakers. So this is super important.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I said is maybe we should go out for a search, because you don't know what's out there. And I kind of want to see, no offense, but I kind of want to see what's out there. And we did the same thing with the city clerk. And then we were like, you know what? She's great. We want her. You know what I mean? So, but at least we did our due diligence to see what's out there. And so that's where I'm feeling. Councilwoman Stafford?
And in support of what Fran just said, we're talking about being smart with our taxpayers' money. And if we're gonna be smart with our taxpayers' money, why would we waste it on, why would we waste it on a search when we know we've had text message from a search company that said she's our best choice? Why would we waste money, our taxpayers' money, my money, on going on a search when we have a capable person who has been with the city over 30+ years, and if she gets the city manager, she doesn't plan on going anywhere. She's gonna retire at the age of 65. Not 62, but 65. That's a good 10 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're wasting taxpayer money. Like I said, this is a major decision. This is not putting on an event for the city, for the citizens. This is running the city. It's not a waste of money to do our due diligence to make sure we have the right person running our city. Becky?
I just want to make a comment because we just went through this in Cocoa Beach. And there was an interim city manager there. Everybody liked him. They went ahead and paid money to go ahead and have a search. And the end result was that people who would have applied did not apply because you can't be a recurrent applier, frankly. You know, it gets out, particularly if you already have a position. You jeopardize your position. It's very difficult to get top quality people to apply if there is an in-house person who's doing a good job. And what happened in Cocoa Beach, I think they spent about, I think it was about $35,000. And they ended up interviewing, I think, 5 people. They didn't like any of them, and they were not your high quality people. And that that's just the facts of how these things come down. I'm just telling you from experience. It is very difficult to get your
So I would
good
appreciate
people.
if you didn't opine though, because you're our legal counsel and we respect everything you say and we take it to heart because you're the one that keeps us safe and legal. So when you tell that to the council, they're going, you know what? She just said this in another city, but that's another city and it could happen differently in every city. And I think that's up to the
Apologize.
council to actually, I appreciate you putting that out there, but I think it's not appropriate because the council should be discussing this.
Okay,
And you should
I
be our legal
apologize.
counsel. Councilwoman Durhams.
Very simply, you know the devil you have, you don't know the devil you're going to get.
Well,
Go ahead.
I wouldn't call her a devil, but
I didn't mean that negatively.
I'll take Angel. I'm the angel.
you know, we all, you know. But I will say also trust but verify. And where I work, that's what we do. And yes, you trust, but you verify. And I think that we looked at ICMA as a go-between between the $35,000, $40,000 expensive outside agency and the we'll pay you for your mileage person that can give us some good, honest background. We've done it for 30, 40, collectively 100 years. These people will be in if they're in a group because they have put in all of that information, all of that time and effort into running cities, and they've been city managers, and so they would be able to help with that. So all I'm saying is that yes, trust but verify, but I also say that we do have a due diligence to kind of look and make sure that we're doing the right thing for the city. Only because I sat in the audience when that whole fiasco happened before, and I
Yeah.
saw what happened.
Right.
So I'm just, that's just me.
So are you suggesting we, with one of the options?
Let's hear what this Kenneth Parker has to say on December 9th, if he's willing to come out
Absolutely.
here. I think that would be a great idea, and why not? What's it hurting? We haven't changed anything, so. What does
Okay.
everybody think?
I like the idea.
Yeah, that's good.
We just need to
No.
get this thing moving.
No, ma'am. So, all right. Do we need a motion to come back on December 9th with the FCMC? I've got clear direction. I will have Mr. Kenneth Parker attend the December 9th meeting and address you all.
Do we need to do public comment on this?
I think it would probably be a good idea.
Too. Okay, is there any public comment on this?
Sharon Stafford, 461 Clark Street, Orange City, Florida. And Ms. Dawn, I agree with you. I sat in the audience when this happened. And I'm saying taxpayers' money, my money, everybody else's money. Why are we wasting? And you say, I know you're saying it's not a waste, but we know what we got. Christine has been here, has worked her way up the ranks. I've seen it in every position she's been in, she's excelled. Since our city manager left, she stepped in. She's been doing an excellent job. We sat here for 47 minutes discussing $1,000, but we're gonna sit here and say due diligently and give away $35,000. No balance. We know what we have. We know what we have. You know, me, myself, I can call Christine any day or time of night. Hey, Christine, I need so-and-so. And she's on point. She's on point. So I can't see why we want to go out and hire an agency, pay them the $35,000, and we sit here talking about $1,000. Don't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comment? Okay, I think we got direction for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to 8E, City Lobbyist Review and Consideration. Christine Davis.
Thank you. So at the October 28th meeting, Mayor Marks advanced the new business item to consider retaining a lobbyist to help us at the state and federal level when we have requests for legislative funding. We know from our current consultant that our legislative requests are making it through and into the budget, and where we're seeing the failure is when it gets to the governor and it gets redlined. And this is arguably an option that may help us get it over the finish line. So since the meeting was held, we did some research. I had actually, let me back up. The mayor had started the conversation with me prior to bringing the new business, and we had actually done a little bit of the footwork. With that direction, purchasing jumped in, got some hardcore documents for me to help build this agenda item and therefore the presentation. So to summarize for not only you all, but our audience, Orange City has previously advanced legislative and funding priorities intended to benefit residents, including public safety, infrastructure, and resiliency projects. Staff capacity to monitor or analyze or advocate during peak legislative periods is limited. A professional firm will extend the city's reach and help coordinate messaging with regional partners. The legislative monitoring alerts, they will track bills, amendments, budget items, and agency rulemaking affecting the city and provide timely analysis and recommended action items. The advocacy and relationship management, this represents the city, they will represent the city before legislators, committees, state agencies, and federal offices, scheduling meetings and facilitating briefings. And what I will tell you shortly in my manager's report, that scheduling meetings and facility briefings is very tedious. So I'll give you a little more detail on that later. Funding strategy and pursuit, they will help identify and pursue appropriations, grant opportunities, and federal funding that align to the City Council's priorities. And they will also assist with the application and supporting materials. With the program messaging development, they help refine the city's annual state and federal legislative program, prepare talking points, issue briefs, and one-pagers. Here's a review of the jurisdictions, our neighbors. We have DeBerry. They currently use the lobbyist Ballard. They obtained them through an RFQ process, and their annual budget is $78,000. The city of DeLand does not currently have a lobbyist, and it is being considered. Deltona has the G.A. McHugh, sorry, Associates. I should have practiced that before. I apologize. They went through an RFP process, and their budget is $45,000. I will want to back up on DeBerry. DeBerry is currently pursuing adding a lobbyist, and Ballard would be their state lobbyist, and they're going out for a federal lobbyist. So they're going to actually possibly mirror what I'm about to tell you with Daytona, because Daytona has two lobbyists, one that represents them for federal and one that represents them for state. It is under their purchasing policy, those contracts were awarded through the city manager signature. I can talk to you about that for us in a moment. And the two contracts are roughly $50,000 each, and that's how they kept that under the city manager signature, in my opinion. So we have the recommendation is to allow direct staff to issue an RFI, which is a request for information. The key points that we're going to ask in that request is for them to provide us a bio, to tell us why we should want to work or hire them or retain their services. They'll state their hourly rate, And then they'll also ask them, thanks to John Peters and picking his brain, they will also we'll ask them to provide evidence of their success for the last 5 years with their varying clients. At that point, depending on the cost, it could still be the city manager authority, because we have 0 funds budgeted for this. This is a new initiative. I did share in the agenda item where the funds could come from. Contingency, I believe. I don't recall.
I think so. Is that going to wipe out our contingency? Because then we only have
No,
100,000.
that if you look at the amounts that your other neighboring cities are budgeting, I would think if Deltona can manage with 50,000 or less, we wouldn't want to go over that. We'd want to set that based on the hourly rate. We could enter into a work order that's not to exceed, and we could set that limit at either 25,000, 35,000, something to get us started. But if you look at the different funding levels, I don't know that we need to go over a certain amount. I would not recommend 90,000 and wipe out your contingency. So for me, I would say, once we bring back the results, we could go work on a work order of, you would establish maybe a 50,000 or less, because we're kind of on a fast track for this. The legislative session is starting early in January. And ideally, we want them on retainer sooner than later. There is a possibility we could miss the boat, but I'm thinking we're going to do our best not to. It's just time is not our friend in this process. So at this point, with all that said, that is a recommended motion that you could consider, but I would say talk amongst yourself. If you have questions, I'll try to field them. And that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have one question. I noticed that you did the neighboring cities, and that's smart. Would those be the ones that you would be looking for RFI from, or would you look further out?
We don't limit the pool.
Okay.
We publish it on Demand Star, and
Okay.
we will get far more than what you saw. You will just have to pick, and we will try to help navigate that. But hopefully the information you get between what they have to say about themselves, what they've successfully done, and then considering what their rate is, because
Sure.
it could be a
Depending
very
on who they
large
are.
rate. I'm not in this, I haven't worked in this arena just yet, so but hopefully with those pieces you can make a good educated decision.
So I think I brought this initiative up because I think it's important, because we have a master facilities plan that's going to cost us about $45 million when we're done. I believe that's about right, close.
Yep, you're good.
And so, last year we didn't have any success. We we sort of did. It went through.
It made it to
It went
both
through.
years.
Yeah,
We've made it to
it
the
made it to the
budget.
governor. So
Something.
we had a little bit of success. It just we need someone like this to push it past the governor to say yes, right? And so that's why it's important. It makes me nervous that we would be taking half of our contingency fund.
Sure.
Because that's not a lot for emergencies and, whatever we need that could happen emergency-wise, right? So that makes me nervous. And I don't want to say, hold on one second. I don't want to hear, well, I probably will hear this, but personally, that we shouldn't spend this money because it's $50,000, because this is another thing that is very important. And we're up here making decisions to move the city in the right direction, to have a new fire department, to have a new police department, public works and all that. And we need this help to get there. So that's why I was asking for it. I'm a little nervous about the 50,000 because of that, like I said. But I just wanted you to know how important it is. It's not just a sponsorship. It's not just a, something. Two major items tonight: city manager and this. In my eyes, this is something that we really need, right? So we just need to do our due diligence on that, obviously. But I just wanted you to know how important it was. Councilwoman Stafford.
Question. We put an additional $30,000 in council budget for going to Tallahassee and lobbying. Could we use that money to get a lobbyist?
That's your discretion. I do recommend that you have a presence. I just don't know, with us having a lobbyist, maybe you could consider a little less presence. That is really a policy decision, not a Christine decision.
Well, council, can I ask the council then? The council would be, and still using those $30,000 for additional, the mayor's gonna go up there and do a fantastic job. if she have a lobbyist up there with her, rather than us, but a lobbyist that knows the profession, rather than us going up and trying to get a feel of what's going on. If she had a lobbyist, she'll be having direct contact with the lobbyist, and they could direct her as to, okay, this is what we need to do. Take that $30,000, so we won't mess with any other money. Take that $30,000 and allow it to go to a lobbyist.
Councilwoman Thompson? I'm tired.
So to your point, and I was gonna say the exact same thing, and with an additional, yes, because if we have it in the budget for several of us to go, what would be the point if we do hire a lobbyist, because that's what they do day in, day out, and that they are good at what they do. Yes, we would need someone to represent, and then obviously, you know, that would work. That was part of it. The other part of it was if we get a lobbyist, and yes, it's $50,000, if we pull from the budget that we currently have and we have these contingency funds, we stand to get millions of dollars because it might pass much better than what we could make it pass. So those are the things that you kind of.
It's similar to your grant investment.
Absolutely.
You currently are investing $30,000 a year for your grant
guaranteed.
writer. And
For the
some
potential of
years we
millions.
get
Yeah.
a lot of money, and then years we don't.
Exactly.
And so this is your first time at looking at adding this tool to your toolbox is what you're considering.
Right.
So I want to tell the council that when we went to Tallahassee last time, and I had expressed to you that I was the only one there, and I really could have used your support there with me, right? All the other cities had their city manager, their assistant city manager, or a few council people, and their lobbyist. Those cities up there had their lobbyist already working on it before we got there. So they were working on it way before that week when we were there. And that's the value of having both, is that you start with the lobbyist, and then you come in the end and you show them you mean business, right? And you come in as a group, because I was there by myself, and I just felt like it wasn't, I guess the impression wasn't as hard as like when DeBarry walked in and they're spending 70-some thousand on a lobbyist, and they had their mayor there, their city manager, their government affairs person. I mean, just a bunch of people there. Their vice mayor was there. And I know that all cities have different budgets, and you can only afford what you can afford, right? So we have to work with what we have. So, anything more than what we did is good, right? So if council decides that we just want to do the lobbyist for now, and the mayor, or just I'm open to all that. I just want to get the money so we can get new facilities for our first responders and our public works.
Agreed.
I would just like to add that multiple council members should not attend the same meeting with senators and House representatives, because you will violate sunshine law.
Correct. So
Different council members would have to attend different meetings, potentially with staff and whatnot, but council members, like the mayor and vice mayor, would not be able to attend the same meeting with, said representative. They would either have to set up separate meetings or, separate senators or House representatives. But 2 or more council members in attendance with one meeting would definitely violate sunshine laws.
So that's a good point. So when you're in Tallahassee, how it works is that you split up the work. Because there's a lot, every 15 minutes, it's like college. You're going here, you're going to the House, you're going to the Senate, back and forth. And you might even miss meetings because you can't get there quick enough, right? And so when you have more than one person there, you split up the work. And, you would go to Senator Wright, and you would go to, Representative Barnaby, or, whatever. Like, you just split it up. So, and then also, when you also go to represent the Volusia League of Cities. So when you go there, you do go in the same room with your council or your commission, because you're talking about Volusia League of Cities business, not personal business or, council business. And that was just my experience. We would go in the same room and go, we're here for Volusia County, and we want home rule and things like that, right? So that's one part of it. So it helps to have presence from Orange City there. The second element is that you split the workload, because it's a lot. And so I was the only one there, and I was running ragged, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, it was an experience, and I think that you all should experience, to be honest with you, so you can see what it's about. And then it shows that we want that money, right? We're there. We're there in numbers, and we want that money. And that's all I was trying to say is, you know, when they see that, when they see me walk in by myself, they're like, little old Orange City, we're going to give it to Port Orange because, you know, they're all there, or, you know, DeBarry. And that's just the way it looked to me. I'm not saying that's the way it was, but we didn't get any money. So, and we got a lot of projects at hand here, and we don't want to put that burden on the taxpayers. We want to try to get that money from them so that we don't have to keep spending money. So to Councilwoman's point, you got to spend money to make money, unfortunately. But the question is, how much money, or how, you know, Councilwoman Stafford, you're right. Maybe we shouldn't all go because of that reason. Maybe we should divvy it down. That's a good idea, actually, to...
No, the city manager, I think, too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's real important because sometimes they ask questions that I may not have the answers, right? And the city manager does. I could have used Dale there so bad because I know she would have had the answers, you know. And they respect that. When you go in front of the delegation like we did a couple weeks ago, they want to see your mayor there and they want to see your city manager there. And if they don't see it, they have a different way of looking at things, right? We've seen it in action.
It's definitely a benefit.
It is.
If you team up.
Council.
I would venture to say, and I'm not putting it out there to suggest that we volunteer or voluntold someone, but if we're looking for fire and we're looking for police, wouldn't it benefit to have those top tier people with you as well?
Yes, it's just not necessarily funded. And I could get, I promise you, if we ask somebody to come with us, they will come from one or
Right.
both of those.
Right, I'm
those
saying
areas.
instead of a council member.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? That
So
makes
what-
more sense.
So what would you do? Move the funding, or how would you?
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
if you, we
just
we
move
could
around.
come back at once we have the RFI and I have the timeline for that, we could bring back a possible budget amendment that would take into consideration not only your contingency, but the money that was actually, I can't quote the dollar amount tonight. Devlin might be able to, I doubt it, so I won't do that to him.
Dollar amount for what?
The actual money that was, you know, your council budget is a bucket of everything you guys are doing all year. I would need to look into the weeds and see what was the dollar amount for going to Tallahassee, and then say, okay, and how many people did that fund? And if we're going to fund the mayor and the city manager and 1 to 2 staff, how would that look? And that could just get spread to, it's basically moving money from the council budget to the appropriate. So we could come back with a recommended, based on this discussion, at the meeting once we have the RFI results, for consideration. I hear what you're saying, and I see where you're going, and I believe we have enough information to look at what's actually funded in the budget. Along with, I'm hearing that, you know, maybe we want to do a not to exceed 50,000 for the lobbyists. Wherever that money's coming from, we could show you, you know, with that agenda item and through a budget amendment.
Councilwoman Darms?
Yeah, when I first heard about this, I'll have to be very honest with you. I kind of regarded it in a negative mode. I've been involved in politics for over 60 years, and as a teenager, and I'm old. What can I tell you? I'm old. And over the course of time, and I'm sure others have heard this, you know, you hear about lobbyists, and there's often been negativity related to lobbyists. So I would say this, anything is worth a try. I would say maybe let's do this for about a year and see where it goes. And if this guy, Kenneth Parker, can lead us to somebody who's a reliable lobbyist and not just doing it to make money. Let's face it, they're probably plenty there just to make money, but are they there to do the job for us? That's how I feel.
So it's just like Christine said, it's just like grants. There's going to be some years you are successful and some years you're not successful. And so if you want to gauge it on the particular person that you hire, that's one thing. but you don't stop. Once you start the program, you got to keep it rolling and hope for the best, right? So you're saying try somebody for a year, and if it doesn't work out, then dump them. You have to build momentum. You have to show these representatives and these senators that you mean business. You have invested in Orange City because you have a lobbyist. You spent money on that lobbyist to bring somebody there. You spent money to send some of the council there to say, or the firemen or the police to say, we mean business. Because last year I told the story to every single one of them, and it was a good story. It was pictures of our facilities. It was, you know, the conditions that they work on. And at that time, Milton destroyed the facilities. They didn't even have facilities to work out of, and we didn't get the money. Because I believe they were focusing on stormwater at that time and not so much public safety. I think they are, just from our meeting a couple weeks ago, I felt like they did talk a little bit about public safety this year, more so than they did last year, because there's been a lot of funding being put out to stormwater throughout the cities. Not to say they're not keeping their eye on stormwater. They really did talk a lot about it. But I think we got more of a chance this year than we did last year, which amazes me because, like I said, they didn't even have facilities to work out of. We were renting facilities. You know, their cars were ruined. I mean, I went through the whole story and told the story because that's how you get money. You tell the story about what's really happening and why we need it, right? And we weren't successful that way. We were with the ones that I spoke with because they pushed it through to the governor. I think it was $900,000 for the fire.
Yes.
I think it wasn't as much for the police and the public works.
Zero.
But so when we went before the delegation a couple weeks ago, we pushed the fire this time because that's what they were interested in last time. And we thought, please just give us one building. Let's get started here, right? Because we got this big project, and all three of these facilities are needed equally, but we're not getting any progress here. So when we went before the delegation, we brought Firehouse 68. They stood in the back of the room. We had our 3 minutes to speak, and I tried to tell the story again, but then I told them, I have Firehouse 68 in the back of the room, and they waved to the legislators, and I said, this means a lot to them. They need this. They deserve this. They're first responders, and they should not have to live under these conditions. And then we gave them the handouts of the pictures of the double wide they live in, the shed that their gear's in, and express that, you know, a male and a female are sharing the same room, but they have a divider. That's how they get dressed. I mean, that's not acceptable for any first responder, right? So I'm trying to sell that story because it's true. It's a true story, right? And so I think the more they hear it from us and the lobbyists going in, I really think we have a good chance this year. So I think that we are going to if we put our money where our mouth is, it shows that we mean business. It's not just, please give us money. It's, we need money, we need it now. So with that being said on that rant, sorry, what do you want to do, council?
So if we're done with discussion, I would like to move to direct staff to issue a request for information for state and federal government relations lobbying services and to bring the RFI results to council for consideration and approval.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any public comment on this? Come on up, Patrick.
Patrick Murphy, 678 Swan Range Road in Orange City, and a member of the council's Ad Hoc Citizens Facilities Committee. I've toured those facilities. This is not a need. This is a must. And if we don't get the grants, you're going to be raising our taxes in order to pay for this. Our facilities are 20 years behind, not keeping up. The numbers we just saw are 25% increase in 20 years. How do we get ahead of that? How do we have police services, fire services, and again, public works to help repair everything? So I'm much in favor. I know we got to save money, but sometimes we got to spend money to get the real money that we need for the millions of dollars for these facilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back for the question. Kaylee?
Councilmember Stafford?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jarms?
Yes.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Councilmember Tiongson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Graham?
Yes.
Mayor Marks?
Yes, and it's approved for the lobbyist review to come back to the council. Thank you. Okay, moving on to reports. City manager?
I won't go far. So Aaron's going to help me and hand out 2 documents. One is the city manager's report, and the second is a one-page report or overview regarding the Rhode Island Levitt Avenue roundabout. Let her get that handed out. It is late, and in the interest of time, I'm going to go over the items that that have the update. So with, or are new. So the Lansdowne sidewalk project. The pre-construction meeting was held on November 10th. The notice to proceed has been agreed to be issued on or about January 1st, 2026. We expect substantial completion to be March 6th, with final completion on about April 6th. This project is running simultaneously with the, I want to say sidewalk, and it's not. It is a parking lot. The Holly Avenue parking lot. And this contractor, I believe, is the same contractor on both. Okay. And when we did the pre-construction meeting, there are materials needed for the Lansdowne sidewalk that are going to take some time to get in. So because of that, they're going to go fast forward on the sidewalk, or on the parking, the Holly parking. And so they're not doing both projects at the same time. They will get in, get the parking lot done, have the materials in, and be able to get in and do the Lansdowne. So that is how that timeline evolved. With the electric vehicle, we have...
Hold on, can I ask you a question before you move on?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. So do we have a timeline on the Lansdowne sidewalk project then? You said they have to wait for materials. Is that
So-
just kind of in limbo?
Yes, that's what I gave you, but let me not do acronyms because they don't really help sometimes. So the notice to proceed will allow the contractor to begin the work on or after January 5th. The timeline from there is they have to be substantially complete by March 6th, with final completion by April 6th.
Okay.
Okay.
That's both projects?
No, Lansdowne that's just Lansdowne.
Because I thought this timeline was the parking lot.
The parking lot is going ahead.
Okay.
And is going to start now.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that is that material that we don't have, that they have to get in order to do the project on the sidewalk project.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. With regard to the electric fleet vehicle, we are still pending the Duke engineering review of where we would put the charger that would support the electric vehicle that is being proposed now to buy for the public services area. And we just can't move forward because that's the chicken or the egg came first. Well, this has to come first before we can own an electric vehicle and operate. The Waste Pro contract is having a few issues. Mr. Abraham shared with me tonight that he's not getting service, so I will look into that tomorrow. We ran into some issues with side door services, and the best I can explain is the list that came from JFL to Waste Pro was not wholly accurate. And so as we're doing these, people are calling in and they're not getting that rear door service that they were previously getting. Well, Waste Pro has taken the position that, well, maybe they weren't approved. They're not on this list. Therefore, they're asking these individuals to provide evidence that they qualify for this rear door service. And it makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense to your resident who's had it for 10 years and now they're not. So I worked through with Waste Pro to establish what that procedure would look like, and they're now trying to do That's rear door service, but also saying, but you have to do this by the state. You have to work with us. We're going to do it, but the one lady has committed. She totally understood, said, yep, I'll go get it, and others, might be a little bit more time consuming, but that's being worked through. The Monastery Road update is the articulated block along the shoulder of right-of-way. It's got to go in first, and they anticipate that's happening in the next few days, but paving is slated to start November 17th. Let's see. Oh, I'd like to introduce our newest hire. Our newest hire is Justin Valley Joe. Oh, thank goodness. So previously it wasn't being pronounced correctly, so when I asked him and he gave it to me, I'm like, that's just too simple. We were making it so complicated, and now I'm getting stuck. But Justin, would you stand up and say hi? So he started on Monday, got a federal holiday off on Tuesday, but he's been working feverishly. Today he attended a meeting of what I think they call it the PIN meeting, but the county, when I attend certain meetings, has been saying, hey, we're getting this group together, and we need your PIOs at the table for a stormwater initiative. So he was able to jump in and attend that, I think followed by an actual regular PIN meeting immediately after that. I don't know if you want to say anything or you guys have any questions, but it's late, so what are we doing? What do you want?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. If you want to say anything, you can.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Levitt Avenue condition assessment, I went back through our correspondence, and I show that on about the 26th, you were going to verify some concerns with Pineapple and Daly regarding big dips. And I don't see I have a reply.
Between those two.
Between those two. Did you
Yes.
get out there and survey that? And you have concerns regarding?
Yes.
Okay. You hear that, John? I'll get with you tomorrow. The old elementary school, we did have a meeting with the school board staff and our staff. Since then, Joe Ruiz was at the meeting, Mayor Marks and myself. We convened afterwards, walked the building, and have sent to the Volusia County School Board 2 official questions that we think we need answered in order to proceed. Also, I contacted Young Blood building movers out of Sanford. They are world renowned for moving buildings. They did us a courtesy, went out, surveyed the building, and called me with the very, very sad news that building will not survive being moved. In order to move it, you would have to break it down into such small pieces that it would not survive. So we did get that information in, and now we just await the school board's official response to what they would require and what they would consider of either giving the school or giving the school to the city or giving the school to the city with the land that it sits on. And there's a lot of other things that are going to go into that discussion once we have those answers, but we're working on those at this time.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask Youngblood if they would be willing to take a piece of it like we talked about, just the front piece?
No, I think we could handle that through our own engineering.
Yeah?
They could, yes, if it's decided that, once we get down the road, I would bring our engineering. Yes, we might contract with them because that's, but I think our engineering can answer that question, but they would come back out. These gentlemen are just salt of the earth.
So
They've been doing it for 70 years, literally. Wow. They moved a school already for Orange City. I'm just confused about which school it was, so I'm not going to speak, but he spoke very candidly about moving a school from one location to another, and I would love to get that information out of him at some point, but he's familiar with our area, and they're right over the bridge in Sanford, and they drove over here, looked at the building, and gave us their honest professional opinion.
Do you mind if I touch on the conversation briefly with the council, because they were waiting to hear what we had to say?
No, absolutely.
So we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I think that, you know, we had the conversation with the staff of the school board, and I We made it very clear that we want to work beside each other, not point fingers at each other, because we want the citizens to know that we're doing our due diligence to see if we can save the building. And if we can't, then we have to have a good reason to tell them that we can't, because many generations went through that school in Orange City. But also, we couldn't get a definite answer. That's why Christine reached out to him to say, can we keep the building there and use it? Can we have the land? That was number one. Number two, can we move it? And then we had discussed, well, if we move it, where are we moving it and what are we doing with it, right? And then we had discussions on that it would be millions of dollars to fix the building, whether it stayed there or moved. And then the other thing that was thrown in there was, if we moved it, our streets in the historical area are not wide enough. So it would have to be moved in pieces maybe, and they would have to take down all the electric poles and things like that. So it'd be a major, major thing, right? Not saying it was off the table, but we just kind of threw everything out there for them. And then it came back that the staff really couldn't make the determinations of what we wanted to know. So they were going to take it back to the school board and ask them
to run it up the flagpoles, as
Right.
she described it. And she was off for a few days and would get back from vacation and start running it up the flagpole in order to even recommend giving away the building and the land. That is a school board initiative. That staff cannot do that.
Right.
And then there was some discussion that they felt they could maybe donate the school to the city. But at this point, it's officially out there from the city of Orange City asking these questions so that the council, the school board can then give us, or staff, whichever, I believe it will go to the school board. And they know that if it goes to the school board, we want to know ahead of time because we want to be present. We don't want to find out at 5 o'clock on whatever night their meeting is that, oh, you're on the agenda. So they really do seem to want to work with us, and they understand the
So
difficulty.
the clock is ticking, and it's about a year before anything is actually going to be done. So I said to them, if it comes to the fact that it has to be demolished,
right.
They had told us that they wanted the same people that were building the school to demolish it because they're already there. So it'd be about a year, which doesn't really give us a lot of time to put our ducks in a row if we even decided to take over the building, because once again, it's going to be millions of dollars. Could we get grants? Probably, but that's a probably. It's not a definitely. And then we'd have to put it out to the public. Do you want to pay for this? Because that's a lot of money. It could possibly be more on their taxes or whatever. So we went around with all this stuff. And then it was, if we move the building, where are we moving it? What are we doing with it, right? And then we had discussion in the parking lot, and I was like, well, what about a police station? And I was like, wait a minute. You can't take prisoners in there right next to the school, right? That wouldn't work out, right? So we're like, no. But because the bottom line is the shell of the building looked pretty good, except for the roof, right? But there's a lot of interior renovations that would need to be done, and asbestos and things like that. You probably all saw the report. But then I said, well, what if we just cut out the little piece in the front of the school that says Orange City Elementary? It's like an arch. And we moved that somewhere as a memory of the school, so it's not all gone. You could say, yeah, that was a piece of the school, just to have that feel good for the community to see that that was part of the school. So we talked about that and where we would put that if we did do it and if we could do it. So we tried all different possibilities with this group of the school board to see what we could do, and that's where we're at, right? I mean, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So
A lot of work to do, but we need clear direction to be able to begin to figure out which direction we could be going.
Oh, one more thing, sorry. And the other thing is if it is going to get demolished.
No, yes, you were going there.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yep.
It's late. I said to him, we need at least a viewing. If you're going to take this building down, then you need to open it up to the residents of Orange City, that all the generations that went through there, and you will put it out there as an announcement that you can come on this day at this time, and you can take pictures on the front steps of the school, or you can walk through the school and get your last viewing of the school before they take it down and take your pictures with your family and all that. And they said, absolutely. So I just wanted you all to know that.
Thank you.
So wrapping up, I attended the Volusia County Elected Officials Roundtable. We received several presentations, one from Votran. With regard to the Votran, they offered to come to a meeting and share an overview and educate not only us, but our residents about the program. And I was able to reach out to the Volusia County Transit Services Director, Ms. Bobby King, and we have set a tentative date for her to come and give that presentation on January 13th. In your Friday letter coming up, the presentations that I got to see, I'm going to include in your Friday communication so that this can have a little bit more meaning possible. But the other presentations were the Volusia County Jail Second Chance Initiative. That was very eye-opening, very inspiring. I did not know this was happening, but you'll see the presentation. The Volusia County Animal Shelter gave an update, and that's with regard to Halifax. Humane Society not taking animals. They've had to urgently set up their own, and they gave a report on, you know, how that process is going, how many dogs, how many cats, and where they are, and that will be handed out. The Volusia County Science Center provided an update. They've undergone some major renovations that the gentleman who presented that is very passionate about what he does. And if you could ever get the chance to listen to him talk about that Marine Science Center, it's very engaging. And then they gave a flooding subcommittee report. As I mentioned earlier, Justin attended a meeting, and there is a subcommittee that is under the Volusia County Elected Officials Roundtable. I attended that meeting on October 22nd. They provided a Transformation 386 report, and then the cities got to explain what they had received. I was able to talk about that Orange City was awarded the $15.3 million in grants for our $18.4 million Mill Lake Pipeline project, along with we anticipate funding and work is underway for the 5 basin studies. The Volusia County is creating an interactive website, and that website, they really want all cities to be engaged. You go to the map. If Orange City has participated in the program, our residents can hover over a dot, and that will tell them what project is either going on there or has been done there. And they really want that picture to be on a county-wide level. And we are at the table. Carlene will be attending a meeting tomorrow to help ensure that either we get them our GIS information or they allow us to upload it. So that's going to be great for the county-wide initiative. And then from there, after the Volusia delegation meeting, Mayor Marks asked that we work to set up meetings with all of the legislators that were there. I believe there were 6. I think there was, Wright, Gentry, Leak, Tremont, Barnaby, and Partington.
Tremont wasn't there, right?
No, I believe Gentry wasn't there.
Gentry
He
wasn't
was
there.
absent. But nonetheless, we've started that, and that is like hurting, I don't know, not cats, something a little faster than maybe a cat. I don't know what that is. But we successfully have our meeting set up with Senator Wright tomorrow afternoon in his office on November 13th. We've had some hiccups along the way. We had a meeting set up with Barnaby. He suffered a death in the family, for any of you who know him personally. And then I've given you an update. So that completes my report, other than...
Anything from Gentry?
He actually called the office. Somebody called the office and told Elisa that he doesn't represent us, so I'm back to square one there. I don't understand. She happened to share that and didn't know why the call came in, and so now I'm thinking it's because of I went to the state database to do all the requests, and I'm guessing they got that request, and some staffer is confused, but I will be reaching out to them. So the one-page document about the roundabout, that is for you to get an overview and a bit of an update. And so this project has been ongoing since 2020. You're at the point where if you were in some type of a football game, which I'm not, somebody forgive me for trying to do sports analogy, but you're basically, I think maybe a minute left in the final quarter from winning. And at this point, your bid for construction went out on November 9th, and council awarded or approved on September 23rd to appropriate the final funding that was needed. So this project is a $2.4 million project with 1.35 in FDOT LAP funding, and $1,060,000 that are coming from your city's transportation impact fees. I don't know where we'll end up, but I did want to give you this so we have invested and spent to date over those 5 years, $241,000. And we're set to move forward with construction for 1.7 million, CEI services of roughly 300,000, and your estimated contingency for the construction cost of 100 and maybe 68,000. And the contract award based on the bid that's out on the streets now would come back to council on January 27th, 2026. So that wraps up my report, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to. All right.
Questions, council? No? Okay,
Thank you all.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, city clerk?
I have no report at this time.
City attorney?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Any new business, council? Councilwoman Darms?
Sorry. Well, this past week, last Friday, I finally finished the J.J. Masters.
Wait a minute. This is for new business,
Oh,
no
okay.
comments.
Never mind.
Okay, we'll come back to that. I'm sorry. Any new business from the rest of the council? Seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, approval minutes we did in the consent agenda. Okay, go ahead, Fran. Council and mayor's comments. See, I'm gonna let her go since she started. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, this past week I finished the J.J. Masters professionalism course. I actually got the certificate. I didn't think to bring it. It gave everybody their certificate framed, and now the only thing we got going ahead for us is the graduation on December 8th. So I don't know who'll be appointed next to go, but it's Lisa knows what she had to go through. It got a little involved on times, but it was worth it in the long run. Right, Debbie? And Jazzy Jerome. No, it was good, and we met a lot of great people in the process, and I'm hoping to keep in touch with quite a few of them. And for me, it was like reliving life because I was probably the oldest person in the entire thing, and it's based on professionalism. What do you do? And it can affect what we're doing here, but I lived a lot of that because I had to work. And I had, a really great job when I was working way before I retired. And a lot of the stuff that I reviewed and read, I said, I did this already. I did this already. I did this already. So at least I felt I was just reviewing and you got to understand with us in that group, there was a lot of college students also attending. So we had to write an essay at the end, and I said, I think this is a very good program for the college students to know what to expect once they graduate and move on. So it was interesting, and I'm glad I did it, and I wish a lot of luck to the next appointee.
Thank you. Awesome. Dawn, you have anything to say?
I have no comments.
Lisa Marie? No? Lisa? No? No? Vice Mayor?
Okay, tomorrow, Orange City, Greater West Volusia Chamber has got a ribbon cutting at 12 o'clock at Orange City Social, 2-year anniversary. The following week on the 19th, I'll be at the Manatee Cove Middle School, talking to the civics classes.
For you.
And on the 22nd, I'll be at the VFW in DeBarry, celebrating veterans. So, that's all I got.
Thank you. That's
Thank you.
awesome. So I attended a proclamation for Pastor June Huff of her 10 years service at the Mount Moriah Holiness. I want to say it was awesome. My adrenaline was going so fast when I left there because there was lots of music and dancing and fun, and You know, they were all just, it was like they were all in one, and I just never saw it like that before, so it was a really good experience for me. I really enjoyed it. I think everybody should experience that. I just can't even say enough about it. So I really appreciate the invitation, and Councilwoman Stafford was there also. And so we presented her with a proclamation for her 10 years of service. And let's see, I wanted to talk about earlier with the fiscally responsible thing. I just want everybody to know that, when we make our decisions up there, we don't make them lightly. We're just trying to do the right thing. And, it's really hard with a balance. Just think of it like your own budget, like, should I spend it on this? Should I spend it on this? Should I spend it on groceries? Should I spend it on electric? It's kind of the same thing, only a bigger picture up here, because we're trying to do something to move the city forward, but we're also trying to keep our residents happy, but be fiscally responsible, because that's our job, right? So I just wanted to put that out there and try to keep the emotions out of it, because we're up here just to make decisions. Even though we are passionate about things, and I appreciate that, I just wanted to make that a statement. And then, let's see. There was a comment about our meetings being, going on and on for 46 minutes about a sponsorship. That's our job. We need to discuss these things. How do we come to the right decisions if we don't talk about it? That's why we're here. We come here to meet, and if it takes us 2 hours to come to a determination, then so be it, because then we did our job right. I hope it doesn't take 2 hours, and I hope it doesn't take 46 minutes, but sometimes it does. So I just want to make that statement that it's important that we do talk it out. There's lots of personalities up here, and there's lots of opinions, and that's what's great about the council, because it's not all the same. And as you see, we can all come together at the end when we have that decision, but you have to hash it out sometimes. So I just wanted to put that out there, that's what's great about the council, is that we do that with everything we do, and we're passionate about that. So, I appreciate that. And then lastly, I was going to mention the roundabout. One of our constituents had said that he would like to see a workshop, and I would like y'all to think about that, because we didn't bring that up under new business. And that may be something that we may just have to call a special meeting to talk about it, to educate the residents on why we're doing it and what's happening, because that was a request. Because if we do have all those comments out there, I think it's important that they know how we got there, because I was not a fan of it all these years. I just came on board when I saw the money we're making and where we're at in that decision, where, what stage we're in right now. It's hard to go back and just, get rid of that money. But I think there's more to it, and I think the city manager, interim city manager, could help us with, discussing that with the residents. I think it's important.
Yeah.
So I may call a special meeting, and, we'll do it the proper way, but I just wanted to bring that up, that we did hear you, okay? And then the other thing with the school, like I said, we'll just keep you updated as we know. So I don't want you to think we're keeping you in the dark about it. It's just when we went to meet with them, they had said that when they last met a couple of years ago, maybe, it was with the mayor and the city manager, and we had no idea, right? So I'm doing my best to keep you all abreast of what's happening, so that when you're asked questions from the residents, you can answer. So I just wanted you to know that. And Christine also, we're working together on this to do that. So, and with that being said, we just need a motion to adjourn.
Chair, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed?
And I
Meeting
want to
adjourned.
thank Mom for doing her job over there.
Mom.
No, not you. I said I want to thank Mom for helping her with her job.